Good morning. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for I think the first AM stock morning screening. Basically, most of the times I'm always in front of my computer screen, looking at stocks, looking at what potentially could happen in the market. Always looking, reading, watching videos, all kinds of different various components on understanding the market, seeing where we could be potentially getting some buying some stock and so forth, and looking at what potentially can move for the next following week or so. So that's going to be something that we want to look at in the market. Again, I always want to kind of stay not current like knowing the complete market beat of every single stock, but just understanding on where there could be some sections in the market where I would like to put money into, and just kind of again do a very broad horizon of things I would like to purchase. So we can kind of start looking into that here. Of course, I use definitely a number of vast amount of different resources to look at things like that. So yep. Let's see here. A lot of people always ask on what I look at initially. It's just I look at everything. I look at everything from Wall Street bets. That's usually what we can kind of just fall into first. So we can kind of just pull up the old Wall Street bets here first and kind of just see on VUZI on over there and seeing what the Hello Kitty they're talking about over there, and kind of looking at the sentiment. What are they looking at? There's a bunch of other sites that we want to look at as well on the sentiment of the swag stocks. Is another great resource to look at on the sense of what's going on in the market, especially on the Wall Street bet side. Of course, they have had such a large influence really on with the GME stuff, deep F and value, the AMC side. Of course, they help PLTR really kind of break out as well, and so forth. And this stock does a really great job on the Wall Street bets ticker sentiment, which is again here. I can kind of put that in the section down below here if you want to check that out. Posted that within the chat here. Again, this is basically just kind of going into what is being talked about the most. Is it positive or negative sentiment? And then, of course, the volume. Of course, GME is usually always near the top and so forth. And really looking at that potentially again. That's always going to be somewhat in the news because, again, that's the stock that really propelled Wall Street bets into a whole nother stratosphere, basically into a whole other universe, to be quite honest. And really kind of, but I always look at the first like 6 stocks. Of course, we have a weed stock, PLTR, AMC, BlackBerry, Tesla, and of course GME. Of course, Tesla's always been bouncing around and so forth. Ryan, good morning, my friend, and ISIL, good morning as well to you, my friend. Thank you guys for stopping by. I know this is a little bit impromptu stuff, but I just wanted to kind of go through on what I do on a Saturday morning, looking at stocks, looking at what potentially could move in the following week. So more welcome to stay, enjoy, ask questions, and we'll just kind of go through the whole premise of things and kind of building somewhat of an active watch list via these stocks. Let me clean my glasses here real fast. Because again, it's always, most of the times I'm just really just reading about stocks, looking at just different videos, getting other people's perspective, reading analyst reports and all kinds of things, just kind of get myself more knowledge base. Of course, I love a lot of things from Cathie Wood and so forth. Taking a lot of notes as well. Notes are super extremely important here. And looking at what happened last week, what open positions you have, do they have earnings coming out? You can see here I'm just kind of grabbing all my notepads and everything to kind of keep track of everything. So again, a little bit of a different stream here. We're going to be talking about really looking at seeing the incurses, the intimacies, I don't know what word we're looking for, on how my brain works on the sense of looking at various stocks. Another one I always look at Hindenburg report on how what are they talking about, so forth, and reading their stuff again, trying to get the most balanced sense of what's going on, understanding where people are positioning, what are people fearful, all kinds of things. They hit because I was like, because you have to understand both sides. Like you can't just be, even though that I am a pretty a bullish individual, I have to understand what the other side's thinking. Like what are their convictions? Does it make sense to me? So Hindenburg report, zero hedge kind of things like that. I like to keep up with. But within Wall Street Bets, it looks like Wall Street Bets is not like it used to be, to be quite honest, on my analysis, on seeing the material that we have seen that really kind of came through. Thank you. Yeah, free free my grandma. Tom, what's up, my friend? Nick F, what's up? How you doing? Um, yeah, Ryan, I looked at that one. I was trying to do some more research on that. I have it on my watch list. That thing definitely has moved. If you did notice as well, Kathy did highlight it on her weekly analysis on the Ark weekly report they send out. They talked about that and NNDM. Of course, these were stocks that, especially NNDM, has been very beat down. Of course, that's like that Israeli 3D printing company that really does fantastic stuff with introducing conductive semiconductors, electronic components, like, and it's pretty large in the field of defense contracts. Yeah, this one has this really just been gangbusters, bouncing off that 50 SMA here and just flying higher here. Initially speaking, we're going to be looking for potentially some resistance around $23 here, Ryan. So that $23, we could see that level kind of coming in here around, $23, because we've kind of seen that wall move there. Looking at a larger time frame and like a weekly side, this thing has been a heck of a move here. Again, you're seeing that bounce off pretty substantially here. The weekly squeeze has really ignited this one pretty at very high momentum, and this continues as we grind higher here. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages still really kind of carry the stock higher as well, with that again, looking here on the weekly side, so be very mindful about this. And I've been adding this into what was it, VUZI, right? I don't always look at this, but I have been highlighting it more on the videos, on using the fundamental analysis on this. Even though a lot of these growth stocks, the fundamentals really aren't the prettiest. They're not the shining golden goose, especially because it kind of breaks the fundamental side of things, on the sense of people are not really people following it are mostly just trading it. But then you have some longer term investors like, hey, this technology could actually be pretty dominant years down the road. Let me just kind of get here on the ground floor. And normally the analysts, they don't see things like that, to be quite honest. So you really just see the research team here says to avoid, reduce, and sell. The street says, again, who's listening to the street? Like it's again, this is really just what is your risk profile and so forth on that. Again, looking at this again, the revenue has been increasing here. So the things that I look at really is the revenue increasing. The cash flow per share is negative at 65 cents, really highlighting that knowing what the company's doing is they're investing pretty hard in R&D and really trying to gain the market again, like we talked about with Invite yesterday on the last night's video, on highlighting their movement of taking the genomics and DNA from your saliva to identify a skew of potential risk in your health, and what risks that you could potentially see and things to avoid and things like that. So it's using the AI, computer learning, and their huge database that's which Kathy and they've said is very accurate on identifying these potentially genomics or genes that you potentially could have, and they could morph into something so forth. Thanks, guys, for showing up here. Curtis is asking, what are your thoughts for PLTR next week? Yeah, Ryan, I agree too. Yeah, or Wall Street Bets is no longer what it used to be. To be quite honest, to you, it's really just it's not the same anymore. Again, they have 9.5 million people in there now. We were looking at it when it was well below $200,000-$300,000. I mean, 200 under 100,000, so forth. I think when I joined, but now it's just been completely gangbusters and could just continue to climb higher here. But you're asking about PLTR, of course. I love me some PLTR. I'm gonna actually link this to one, so it kind of keeps things relevant. PLTR, which is actually quite interesting. They don't have research on this one. Of course, it hasn't been around very long, so it's not really the most relevant in that sense. So on here, let's go to the daily chart. Of course, this has seen a pretty, again, this stock just came about just in October of last year, so that doesn't seem that long ago. But people are very much enthused by the continuous, like, what's the word, like the mysterious box of what PLTR does, and what they potentially could do with their technology. Basically, like I think I talked to you, Ryan, and someone else the other day. The two movies that I always kind of relate to in the market are basically Minority Report, and then of course Idiocracy. And if you haven't seen those movies, please leave right now and download them, rent them, however you watch your movies, and check those movies out in the sense of giving you a very good sense in the market. It sounds like, especially with the future of tech, innovation, aka Kathy Wood, Ark Invest, that continuous like future kind of like optimism in the sense of like what the world could look like and what it could be with the technologies and all these precision computers, AI, blah 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 blah. That falls in the Minority Report, aka falls in with PLTR on the sense of most people don't understand on what they do, and I think it's just kind of like a black box of just like the not black box, what is it called, like a Pandora's box of like what the powers and what they have the ability to unlock and really give their customers, of course, which has been majority of the military or government contracts. And of course, going into the skew of like, hey, uh, they're here to protect the U.S. citizen. Again, they're a U.S. based company, and looking at the perspective of like, hey, this is definitely a stock I own. So full disclosure on that. This is something that I am bullish on, but I have said multiple times that it could take a long time to really see that story, the thesis of this stock play out in the long run. Because if you saw that run here from initially, again, I had to really think Alpaca. I don't think he's up yet. He's on West Coast time. He said, Ken, you need to check out PLTR. Check out PLTR. I was like, all right, let me just look at it, and it was a pretty interesting spec play. So I added a couple shares here down around $9 or $10. And then, boom, it got picked up by WSB, Ark, and so forth, and it just took off and just continued to grind higher. Then had like kind of that wish-washy kind of bouncing around for quite some time. Of course, with Citron report coming out saying it's going to go below 30 by the end of 2020, or go back down to $20. I think it's about 2020. Then of course, Wall Street Bet got involved because they don't like Andrew Left and Citron, and it just kind of boosted it higher. With that large market move we saw in January, we saw that kind of hit that $45 level, and now ever since then been kind of grinding lower here. Had its second earnings coming out as well, and the earnings report wasn't terrible, but the CEO, I forget his name, the guy with crazy hair, was saying like, hey, if you're investing in this stock, you have to invest for the long term because we're going to see a lot of market fluctuation, and I agree with that. Like again, we're going to see some bouncing around here. Really, with that low that we talked about, getting almost to below $20 on that very large market sell-off that we saw in the past week or so, uh, could have been a potentially nice buying opportunity if you had an alert down there, or if you had a literally a limit order, because it wasn't down there for very long. Like if that was a very aggressive downward motion here, looking at the 30-minute chart again, that was only down there for a couple minutes, if that. Um, that being said, Ryan, I don't know if you remember as well, I wanted PLTR to close above 27 this week, and we're slightly near that. We're missed it by nearly 8 cents. We did close above the 21 EMA, so that's also a good sign here. The reason why I wanted to close above that 50% retracement here at 26.95 was just to kind of give it a stronger stance. Again, it's not going to change my mind in the short term. Again, I'm a little bit more long-term focused on this one. On seeing this guy kind of to play out my thesis of like a company that is, again, the military contract companies. Once you get a foothold, you have a really strong foothold in these larger government agencies, and you just build that and just continues to kind of grow that inception of revenue. And of course, making their plans, their enterprise plans available as well, is really going to be somewhat of a game changer. That being said, where can we see it go next week? So it does have weekly options. So again, to be mindful, we have weekly options expiration coming up this Friday. So they're expecting a move about $2.70. I'm just going to call it $3 for next week. So $3 where it's currently sitting could potentially reach that $30 range. Again, me talking my position, I am an optimism. I'm a more bullish on this stock. I'm going to be looking for it trying to break $31. That's going to be the next level I want to see break. We do have some pretty substantial support coming in at the 89 EMA here, which is around that 24.50 range. So I'm going to look for that for floor support. If we do get some more selling potentially coming into next week, that 24.50, really that 22.69 to potentially 21.66 would be a potential level where I could maybe add a small position, like or add to my position. Because again, I have some 100 shares or plus a couple hundred shares, but I would add, I don't know, if it's down 10% or 5%, I would maybe add a small smidge bid to my overall position. Because again, if it's a very large red candle down, I'm a little bit more hesitant. If it slowly kind of comes into support, that's the kind of the pressure I like to see and kind of gets to be bought up there. Plum. What's P? What PHUN? Um, I've never heard this stock before in my life. What does it do? So let's look at the Plum. Plum is in engaging and managing, monetizing mobile advanced for multi-screen services. The company offers a range of platforms such as mobile engagement, local-based service content, the business. Plus areas of mobile marketing and automation, mapping, navigation, finding way. Yeah, I don't know what all that means, to be quite honestly, but looking at the chart here, a very choppy looking chart here. With what I mean by choppy is like, if this is completely detached from the overall market, because again, you're not seeing the run up, run down kind of scenario. It's just kind of a stock that just kind of been doing its own thing here. Looking here at the, why is this going? I want this on the weekly here. Sorry. The weekly, yeah, nothing I can really see on the weekly because it really just compresses everything down here. The daily chart, let me go to this chart over here real fast. Depending on what time frame you're looking at, you said you've held it for quite some time here. I kind of want to see this hold and stay above a $1.57, or basically that level. Being mindful, we do have earnings coming around the horizon here, so That being said, it looks like it wants to break out. Look at that large candle that we saw just on Thursday. So we want to be identifying that again. That guess where that got stopped out? That previous high at $3. So really look at those levels. Position yourself around that. Again, I don't know what your cost basis is on this or your time horizon. So most of my stuff goes into the daily or the weekly side chart. Sometimes even the monthly. But this is something that I wanted to potentially to look out for. Again, I have no position on the stock, but again, support around 166 to 155 would be a potential good resistance, but it does have earnings coming out in less than 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit more skeptical on that. Really had to see on how that one plays out there. But yeah, looking for $3 potentially to the upside, but it has hit that little imaginary wall. D Nice, what's up, my friend? How you doing? How you doing? But if BTC keeps it this way, is EBON might pop again? Yeah, Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Looking for, I have some targets around $67,000. So that's going to be a pretty interesting level for me to see. And I do own a little bit of Bitcoin. I'm not talking much here. Compared to my overall portfolio, but I own some of it. I own some Ethereum as well via using my Tastyworks account since they just unlocked cryptos and I moved that there. With that being said, if we do get a break here, we're going to be looking for that 60,000 break. Again, that next level we potentially could run up to potentially see that invisible wall on the Fibonacci tree here. It's going to be looking around that $67,000 for Bitcoin. I'm not too familiar with EBON, so I don't know. I know this is somewhat linked here. Again, you see that absolutely crazy volume coming in yesterday. That is crazy insane here. You're kind of seeing somewhat of a compelling story here. Really not being able to break above and stay above $10.69. So let's look at that a little bit more. I can kind of show you via my fantastic pen here, looking at the level that we could potentially see this kind of come through. So let me use this color. There we go. So you basically see this level here, this level here, this level here, basically hit multiple times and not being able to break through. Even though Bitcoin has been continuously trending higher here, this is, again, somewhat linked, it looks like potentially, but I wouldn't consider it a true link in that sense of, again, I have no idea what the company does. We can kind of look at here on the analysis tab. But Holding is a Chinese-based holding company that involves an application design, manufacture, sales of Bitcoin mining machines. Okay, so basically they make stuff for Bitcoin miners. Sounds like so that could be a rise, of course. A lot of these large companies actually work out of Iceland because, again, they use the greenhouse, the thermal heat from the volcanoes in there and the hot springs to generate power. Because, again, what's the largest limit for Bitcoin is the power and the consumption of continuously updating the log, mining, and so forth. It's all about power, 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 power. Who can get the cheapest power? That's why basically many years ago, can kind of go down a little tangent hole here. I was looking at investing in some ant miners. I don't know if they even make those anymore. And buying multiple ant miners and running them in the garage or even in the basement. But after doing the math and having potentially was going to go into business with a partner to do so, because he was like, well, I have an apartment and I don't pay electricity for the apartment. It's just kind of distributed. I can run 3 of those all day, all night. And we kind of did the math and we're a little bit too late to the ball. But yeah. Guys, thank you for coming out this morning. I hope it's a little bit different here. We're going to be looking at stock screening stuff, looking at what things we could potentially be looking for. So I kind of wanted to highlight a couple other things here, looking at, where was that here? So I don't know if people use this, but I use I've been using Investor Business Daily for some time here, on the sense of um, the levels of, like looking at stocks so forth. I really like the way they look at stocks and the way they analyze things. But look at a couple more stocks like people are asking for. Yeah, Costco. Ryan, I don't. You're a Costco member. You know they're raising the membership, I think, slightly to like $5 for the starting plan, and maybe 10. I don't remember what it was, but that's not going to change mine. It's just like how Amazon continuously raises the price of Prime. Like, it's just something that they can raise quite a bit here, and most people, they won't see that much of a drop off. Like Netflix just raised their prices. I potentially could see Disney raising the prices once they get a larger foothold in the market, and they're like, okay, if we raise the price $2 or $3 a month, a year, because again, for Disney Plus, you're only paying like, you can get like the annual plan for like $60. You can pay, I think it's like $6.99 month to month, but you can get the annual plan for like $60. If they raise that to 70, that is astonishing how much more money they can make. Uh, it won't change me because, again, we got Winter Soldier coming out on Tuesday or Wednesday. That's gonna be a fantastic show. Just finished WandaVision, which I wasn't really into the first couple episodes, but it really kind of sucked me into the wormhole and really just blew my mind in the sense of what the story behind that. But anywho, Costco, you love it. I want Costco to sponsor the channel. I don't think they haven't responded yet, but I'm not going to give up. Costco, of course, has been completely beaten up here. Just look at this thing from that high. Basically, once they had that special dividend of $10, it's just been continuously a downhill slope here, and just really not seeing too much of a move coming in until we saw the last earnings coming out. Again, talking about potentially higher expenses because guess what? Costco does the right thing. They're going to pay their employees a decent salary. They raised their minimum wage, not to 15, which it was already 15. They raised it to 16. They had to raise the bar. This is why I love Costco. So understanding the fundamental story behind Costco, like how the business works and how they are, I believe, the king of not retail. What is it like? Not even grocery chains, but just the king of customer loyalty on just being a fantastic brand. Again, I like to put my money behind something I really truly believe in, and I really truly believe in Costco. Again, um, I think they do fantastic stuff. I know you're talking about Costco. You're like, Ken, you're talking about Costco. You're talking about a place where you can buy a bushel of bananas for like $1.30, or you can buy 10 pounds of navel oranges for $6.99. Like, yeah, that's Costco. That's but I can also buy. They had a crazy thing during the holidays. You can get a private jet membership. I think it was for like $27,000 to $30,000 for a yearly membership. So you basically, what you do, like, it's just crazy. Like, Costco just finds the perfect segment of things, and it actually works. Like, Costco does a fantastic job on making a huge skew of things and just kind of putting it into play. Because again, that membership was like 27K, but what it unlocked, you're able to reserve a private plane once or twice a month or something like that. Or so, it was pretty insane. I remember looking at it, I was like, that's not too bad of a deal, but it's a little bit out of my price range there as well. I'm still going to be flying the old Southwest. Again, I love my Southwest anyways. Anywho, with Costco, we hit that bounce here around the 309 to 310 level. Nice little strong bounce. Potentially going to be looking forward to kind of see if it breaks above this, what's that, like 335 to potentially hit 340, to really see if that bounce has the that has the staying power that we want to see at that range here. So love my Costco, of course, long-term shareholder in Costco. MR, and yeah, again, all the you have that's the thing. Like the stocks, this one, what's the other one? Riot is going to be all potentially these trade very much. Riot and MR MARA basically are very much linked within the Bitcoin share price. And we will see that pretty large run in, if that runs, we could see these stocks run up as well. Both of them got beaten up pretty substantially here on the last market pullback, and really seeing it potentially trying to rebound here, looking for RIOT to try to test that $80 range, and then MRMA looking to try to test back up to 50, but having a little bit of issues trying to break above 43. Yeah, we're just gonna have to see. These are very fast momentum trades, so these are not like longer term. These move have a lot of volatility, so just be ready to be to get moved around there. But WATT, what is that? I remember you talked about that one before. What is this one? What is this? Wow. Oops. Ooh, this is interesting. Ooh. Okay. Is engaged in development technology called what up is a consistent of semiconductor semiconductor software hardware design from what? What is this? This is interesting. Just looking at the research team says reduce and the street says sell, but then market edge just says go long. Like this is quite interesting. I haven't seen this quite often here. I actually like this. Just on the analysis here, it does lose money, which is fine. We can lose money if we put that into growth, but we do see book value per share going up and revenue going up as well. That is always good. That's actually really interesting to see. The stock as well as a little choppy loppies here. On the weekly side, yeah, this has been very choppy here. Again, this is completely disconnected from the overall market sell-off, but we are looking for some potential levels of support. It is kind of trading on that 21 to 34 EMA, which I do like. This could be an interesting trade to look at. I'm actually going to write this one down, to be quite honest, and I want to be doing a little bit more research on this one. So this is WATT. So this could be potentially a speculative trade for myself. So I'm going to put S to next to that for a speculative trade, because again, I don't know anything about it quite yet. But again, that's the whole process. Like, you guys share your tickers, I talk about some of my tickers. We just kind of have a little learning session going on here, so we just kind of have some fun regarding around that. Nick F, thank you, my friend. John, I appreciate that. How you guys doing? I hope everything is doing. It's wireless charging. Okay, thank you. Ryan, that Costco. There's not many things in life that I can't live without. I can't. My wife, family, my computer, stocks, and then those like Costco. Those are basically things. Is wireless charging for like cell phones, or is it like wireless charging like more larger devices? Jeffrey says that's MVIS. Microvision. That's a very sexy looking chart there, my friend. Really seeing that kind of come through here as well. Let me look at a couple things here. 1 second. Let me see what they are saying over here. Where am I looking at here? Oh shoot, where did I put that at? Let me do invest.com. Okay, we want to go here, and then I want to type in MVIS. So I use, did I misspell that? What was it again? MVIS. Okay, there it goes. It just took a little bit longer. So this is Investor Business Daily Research. I just have the generic digital version of it. It kind of gives a pretty good information and quick little overview, which I like to see. It kind of breaks it down here. You're seeing it like the price moves, volume, their composite rating, which is like their kind of overall score here. Again, really seeing that kind of really large move here. It's a pretty interesting stock on the momentum side. On the overall understanding of the fundamental things, it's not looking too shabby because again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pretty interesting play here via growth, growth, growth. So looking at this one as well, again, really, again, no idea where this came from, but let's look at the what Hello Kitty they do here. Laser beam scanning technology. The market is under the brand of Pico's developed scanning technologies that can be used for products in interactive projections. Consumer light, okay, lidar, okay, with cars, yeah, blah 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 blah. Blah. High resolution manufacturing production, the 3 dimension sensing. Okay, this sounds like a pretty, again, putting this in the bucket of Minority Report. Again, this is something that is potentially could be an interesting play. I actually like this chart quite a bit. I'm actually going to write this one down as well, Jeffrey. So appreciate you sharing this one with us. Let me just write this one down and then we'll just do a quick dive here on the sense of the technical side. Technically speaking, still in an uptrend here. We did see it bounce off that 50 SMA here, which again, let me get the old pen out here. We saw it bounce here at the 50 SMA here and the 55 EMA. So that's, again, nice little technical support. We just had earnings as well, and that has been to continue to drive it higher here. Potentially could get a cup and handle, an ABC pattern, whatever you want to be looking at here. If we do get a bounce here, potentially looking for a level to potentially test that $22 to $23 range up here. If we can get that momentum to carry us higher here. Again, with these falling parabolic SAR dots here as well, those are going to be those parabolic SAR dots kind of help us with the trend. If it really, again, it had a really strong day coming in Friday, up 17.77%. So that's pretty substantial. And seeing that really kind of break through and putting those dots down below again could really help this stock can kind of carry higher. Technically speaking, the way I like to trade, for me, I would have to buy it in that 21 to 34 EMA range, but I would have had not been able to do so because it was just too close to earnings. And again, it's very much of a spec play because again, it's newer technology, newer to the market. Again, like look at this run it's had from basically $2 to $25. Is this something like Kathy Wood owns or something like that? This seems like it's something like it's right up her alley in the sense of just innovation kind of stuff. Yeah, because looking at the weekly chart, this thing was like a penny stock just a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and just been continuing to climb up here. I do like this quite a bit here. So, and yeah, initially trying to test that $19 to $20 range would be that next level that I would like to see. The trend, again, nice continuous movement. Again, short-term support coming in around, let me go back to this chart here. Short-term support is going to be coming around that 1475 there, Jeffrey. 1475 to like 1369, which can, again, falls between that 21 to 39 EMA here. Trans is asking for Amazon and Google, please. Yeah, love me some Amazon, love me some Google. Of course, kind of been two different markets for both of them. You're seeing Amazon really much just continuously kind of hold in this like rectangle, like purgatory box here, and just has not been able to kind of get around this kind of levels here. Because again, I think people are still kind of categorizing it as a stay-at-home play. That being said, people don't understand like Amazon Web Services is huge. Guess what? Amazon also owns Whole Foods. Guess what? Amazon does prescription drugs now. Amazon does all kinds of things. Like it's a huge conglomerate of so many different companies now. Like it's almost like its own Berkshire Hathaway kind of system where it just has so many SKUs, so many different categories that kind of touches each part of the economy, still being AWS being their larger component of their business. Looking here on the Analyze tab, which is interesting to see here, which market edge and the research team says reduce and to avoid. I love to see that. So this basically wants me to buy. With again, revenue continue to climb. We've known the story where, of course, Bezos is kind of stepping down as the active CEO and kind of going more of a laissez-faire, kind of like more of a backwards sitting thing. This thing makes a buku money. Okay, it's making free cash flow quite a bit here, $24.40 a share. Again, revenues climbing. Yes, earnings per share and then net income. Again, due to the higher cost of the pandemic on trying to do the proper PPE protection for their staff, and all those other kind of various things of just Amazon is very heavy on just creating so much flipping money, a tsunami of money, and then just taking that money and just throwing it back into the business. Um, that's what they're notorious for. And most people don't quite understand that, I think. I love Amazon. I've been a long-term investor in Amazon. The only thing that's a little bit sketch for me right now, whoever asked this question, was on the weekly chart here. We are seeing it break below that 34 and 21 EMA here with a squeeze indicating here. If it does fire short here, we could be seeing a break below that 2800 level here and potentially even breaking to the 26-ish level. So this is potentially something to look out for, keeping it somewhat of a short leash because, again, it's still in that purgatory box and looking forward to trying to consolidate here and get back above that $3,000 range. It did close slightly above $3,000 range, but we need to see it actively back up here and get these moving averages in a little bit of better shape here to kind of see that stock potentially try to get to those levels again. And then on the flip side here, oops, let me go here, is the old Google or okay, Alphabet, which has kind of been dancing to its own drum here, being somewhat of a larger component of reopening, being a larger movement of people are putting in the same category as like, oh, it's going to be search. People are going to be super excited about advertising their businesses. Of course, when travel comes back, Google's going to be the lead competitor because, again, what does everyone do? They go to Google, they type in flights to Orlando, flights to Hawaii, and guess what pops up in Google search first? aka Google Flights tracker, and of course they get a cut from the airfare and so forth from if they redirect you to those flights and so forth. Large chunk of their change actually coming from that. Looking here at a level of the daily chart here, beautiful little move here from its last earnings. Has not really seen a large pullback like we saw in the overall market. Of course, going back to the points that we just made regarding about the consistency of reopening stocks and so forth. This one is definitely, again, showing some levels in the short term around 2010 to 2050-ish to be some support at those range. Again, it closed exactly at 2050 on Friday. So that's be quite an interesting level to see here. We do have a squeeze setting up here as well on the daily chart. Looking here on the weekly chart, it's really going to be telling a pretty substantial picture here, holding that 5 and 8 moving average just continues to grind higher here. If the overall market wants to continue going higher, which I believe it wants to, and be more optimistic, is that 2,250 range to potentially be the next level for Google to be hit. But being mindful of that $2,000 range to be in the short level of support there. KTOS. This is a Kathy Wood, right, Stein? Ryan? Yeah, this is a interesting one. What is the ooh? Ooh, yeah. Let me get. I like this one. This is a definitely. I'm gonna be buying this one, honestly, Ryan. I'm gonna be going. I like this one quite a bit here. Looking at the potential. Um, Yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of talking about. This is the one I've talked. You showed me quite a few times, Ryan. That this has come through. So I'm actually gonna write this one down here. Was it KTOS? And that is a B. So how would I potentially buy this? It has been somewhat pulling back here on the daily chart here, but if you look at the weekly chart, it's kind of been bouncing here quite a bit here. It has a little bit of a history because again, it has multiple earnings. It's been around for a minute, and just looking at that levels that we could potentially see here, the trend is trying to get back into the swing of things. Of course, this was a pretty large component to the gross selling here, bouncing pretty substantially here off the 200 EMA on the daily chart here. So around that $23 range to kind of bounce off here. If we can get a break back above 27, that'd be a nice little component to be on the positive side of things. On the sense of buying into this one, potentially if you had to put a gun to my head of what I wanted to buy, I would potentially buy like the 25 calls for May. So I'm actually going to write that down to potentially look at that. And just kind of looking at the potential of it to run higher. Because again, what am I looking for? Okay, it has already had earnings, so that's a catalyst out of the way. Earnings, and if you're trading calls within like that 45 to 90 days, you have to be very mindful of earnings because again, you have to be kind of trading around that potentially. Unless you're a little bit longer term investor, you have to kind of sit through earnings. Looking at this more as a trade here, because again, I don't know the company inside and out. Ryan, you might know more. But looking at the May options, at least the $25 ones, which again are in the money here, trading for around 320 to 350, potentially could be a nice addition here. And as well, potentially looking all the way up to the 16th of July here, which is they're only trading at 4 to 430. So those actually could be a nice little chunk of change here, potentially could kind of calibrate it into the next earnings as well. So this would be something that I would be looking at. Again, what would I be looking at to kind of get out of it? If it starts breaking below 25, again, 25 to around that 24.50 level could be potentially of getting out kind of loss here. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a deeper analysis on the sense of understanding the company a little bit better, and seeing if there's potentially any catalyst ahead. Could be like a demo day or things like that. That could be a catalyst or a downfall. Because again, demo days with a lot of stocks are usually more optimistic, but if the demo day flops, aka if you throw a steel ball at a window and it cracks multiple times, that could be somewhat a failure, but it kind of turned a failure into a a positive, aka Tesla with a Cybertruck. Do I have any coffee left? A little bit left. And speaking of fantastic companies, the Walt Disney Company, we'll look at that one here in a second. Of course, that is one of my core holdings as well. So DIS, this one, like we just talked about at the beginning of the stream, Disney Plus is killing it. Like this is they are continuously, got to give them a thumbs up. They are just doing a fantastic job over there. I'm a super bull in Disney, have been for quite some time. Of course, once we get that reopening plays coming through here, this is definitely something that again, Disney, huge company, large conglomerate of different various segments. What do we got? We got the parks, we got the movies, we got cruise lines, we got entertainment, and then we have, of course, just the overall Disney Plus, which again, their streaming service, which has really been the backbone of the company right now, and really has been propelling the stock higher due to their fantastic content of Marvel stuff and Star Wars, and just the Disney library itself, and just really just bringing it to the fingertips of the consumer here, and really just kind of making the best transition to the digital market. That being said, with the old Disney, this trend is, let's be honest here, in my viewpoint, is still going to be going higher here. We are having a little bit of issues trying to stay and break above 200. So those are going to be some levels that we need to be looking out for. If that doesn't happen here, my longer term view is still for Disney to potentially hit 240 for the year. So how do I get that number? I go to the options tree here. I look for the expected move for the years, basically for basically $58 to $50 here potentially, so $58. So if all things go fantastic, I think that Disney can easily hit 250 to 260 this year. I would love to hit 273. That those my options leaps would be actually printing me money. It would be a fantastic move there. Again, speaking my own book here, I think most people agree that Disney has a pretty good large platform. If we look here on the analysis tab here, pretty interesting to kind of see market edge. Again, this is the one I kind of like the most of like, hey, long, 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 and other people are just kind of saying hold. Of course, we've seen a dip in revenue. They're still making money, but they've been very much hindered. They're only been trying to play. They've only been trying to fight with like one hand, and still one hand tied behind the back. Because again, the whole business empire has not been firing on all cylinders. So I think once that starts kind of coming through, maybe that's already baked into the stock price. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely to watch for. Nick says it's too early. Go back to sleep, dude. I'm always in front of the screen, bro. You're welcome. IDX always has wireless charging in their EVs with Wave. IDX is going to be huge. Yeah, this is the one that has crazy market moves. Again, this one has been sloshed around quite a bit here. Again, it sounds like Curtis, you're a little bit more of a longer term view set on this. Again, it looks like not many people are following it on the criteria here. Let's see here. Yeah, typical growth stock, cash flow per share price negative, revenues declining slightly. But again, that could be tied to the larger viewpoint of taking capital and just investing it here. That being said here, we covered this one quite some times here, Curtis. This is definitely something to look out for in the sense of like, hey, very large market moves. If it does have a swing, look at these like crazy high candles that we're seeing kind of come through here, and just really kind of capitulate the stocks at these very high prices, and then come crashing right back down. And then we're seeing the same level here. Again, it got hit quite a bit from that the growth stuff that we saw kind of come through with the sell-off. Again, this was somewhat of a level here, but guess what? It had held the 89 EMA, which we look for on. Again, the Nasdaq hit the 89 EMA and actually broke through it. This one has held the 89 EMA and kind of bounced off of that. The only concern here that I have here, honestly, is that hey, it's got earnings coming out on the 31st. So that's within that 2-week time horizon, so I have to be very careful on this. This looks like it does have a pretty weird earnings moves here. Could we get an earnings run if you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive? Maybe play the run up into earnings and then get out pre-earnings, depending if you're playing options. If you're a longer term investor, you're going to have to kind of sit through it. But I like this stock, potentially looking for some support around 290 to 227 here in the short term. But again, you're seeing that 21 EMA kind of keeping it somewhat underwater here. So if we get a break above 350 and stay above that, that could be a nice little move there. Ryan, thank you for the $4. I appreciate that, my friend. You didn't have to do that. And the coffee, of course. Cheers to you, my friend, as well. Thank you for the ongoing support. I really do appreciate it, my friend. Got any opinions on the macro of the economy? That's going to be a very long talk there, honestly. In the sense of the stimulus bill and understanding the bonds and market like that. I actually have. I was working on a script to kind of work about the bond market massacre that we saw in 1994. If you basically have my viewpoint on that, is basically seeing that when rates need to fall or the economy is slowing, or bond prices going down, but the yield curve is going higher. I'm not the world's greatest person that understands the yield curve in depth. Like, again, being more of a bond investor. Of course, the bond market, you have to understand the reason why people are fearful of the bond market. The couple things you need to know, just as the most basic beginner stuff on investing, is the bond market, okay, is literally 5 or 4 times the size of the equity market. So it's literally 4 or 5 times larger than uh, uh, the stock market. Okay, because again, that is how world debt is created. That's how world debt is traded. This bond market and treasuries is such a large market. That's why people kind of keep an eye on it, and it's the big whale in the ocean. Again, it's the great white, and where the if you had to kind of put this in a form of pictures, the bond market is like a great white shark, and we're just a small little tiger shark, aka the equity market, just kind of bottom feeding a couple things. But the great white, it doesn't care. It can go after, it can attack a boat, and it doesn't care. Like it's gonna attack a seal. It's gonna start any kind of fight it wants. That's the bond market. Again, I think kind of people kind of need to look at it in that sense at times. So that's kind of like my basic view on that. Tesla, please, as well. Yeah, look at Tesla as well. You know I love that I love my Tesla. I find it completely what's the word, heresy? Is that a good word? Or just completely putting it in the camp of, again, we're going to be talking about the movies about Minority Report and Idiocracy, and Tesla kind of falls in the Idiocracy of things, where people just continues to think it kind of goes up and up and up, aka the same part of the movie Idiocracy, where people just put Gatorade on plants thinking it grows and gives it electric lights. I think Tesla is finally kind of coming back to a reasonable level, because again, that large move from that 400 level to 900, that was so much on the introduction of the S&P 500. Now kind of coming into full roost here, it has been beaten up here a little bit too much. I think a fair price for Tesla is basically where it's kind of sitting at here, to be quite honest with you. Really gonna be waiting for the next catalyst here. We are seeing some short-term support around 670, even down again, hit that level around 600 to 590 here, pretty substantially, in kind of coming into that level here. With Tesla, of course, what are we waiting for? We're waiting on for more news about the Berlin Gigafactory, of course. We're talking about the Cybertruck. Of course, that's the factory they're building in Texas, where they're going to be building the Cybertruck and building things out again. You have to kind of keep more mindful set on, like, hey, things gonna take time here. This is not like Tesla's not gonna be able to snap their fingers and like, oh, there's a Cybertruck, there's the Tesla semi truck and things like that. They're just kind of building out, like, let's be honest, like Tesla. Let's just go to the site real fast. Again, I always love going to the site because again, it's so elegant. They got the new Model S coming out, the Plaid. The Model 3, fantastic. That's selling like gangbusters. Model X, that's just got a fantastic refresh. The Model Y, which is a fantastic car for a little bit more higher than the average price of a car. Fantastic car for that. Guess what? They got solar roof as well. So again, a lot of people, once they get that rolling out, I think that's going to be pretty substantial as well. And at the same time, the solar panels and basically energy wall, or the what are they called? Power walls on the side of the street, or the side of the house here you see. These are basically very interesting levels that we could see Tesla not just be created a car company. At the same note, me being a long-term Tesla shareholder, I also own some GM and Ford, because I think the whole EV movement is just going to be really distributed across multiple different stocks and multiple different companies. Yes, Tesla has, I believe, the best technology, the best footprint, and the best existing models for the consumer. But a lot of people are still waiting for that model, like 25K model, which I think they're definitely going to be coming down to. So. Thank you for the $5, my friend. Hey, GE and PLTR kindly. No problem. Thank you for the $5, my friend, and thank you for joining the stream this morning. Again, I can hope people appreciate this. I know this is a little bit early for some folks, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm always at the computer, always looking at stocks. So really wanted to kind of look at my weekend screening process, and it's just kind of just talking about different various components, looking at stocks. I'm so grateful that everyone kind of came today. I really do appreciate it. PLTR, we kind of talked about in the beginning, my friend. I love PLTR. PLTR is going to be a little bit longer term time horizon. Not sure on what your perspective is on PLTR and what your time horizon is. So PLTR for me is going to be like a 18-month plus hold for me. Again, looking at the chart here, we bounced off pretty substantially here off the 144 EMA, which is again that 21-ish dollar level. We didn't spend that much time at those levels. Again, we really see that kind of gobble up here. Looking at the 30-minute chart here, once we hit below like that $22 range, there was just incredible amount of buying coming through here and just really kind of gobbling up. Again, was that Kathy? Probably. She did buy quite a bit here the past couple weeks, I believe. We can actually kind of look at that via the Kathy Ark fund stuff. But PLTR, I wanted to say, I think I told Ryan or someone else within the Discord on like I wanted PLTR to stay above 27. We kind of missed it by 8 cents this week here. If we continuously kind of see it above here, we want to see it above that 21 EMA. If we get that 8 and 5 EMA to cross through the 21 EMA and even above 50, so the 50 SMA here coming in around $28, if we can see that momentum kind of continue here, with what going into next week, again, there's no known catalyst for right now for PLTR here. So looking here for the options expiration for next week here, pretty high implied volatility. We have a 2.77, so let's just call it $3 or 275 coming into next week. So what that means is plus or minus $2.75 on the market move we could see here. So potentially would love to see this back above 30. But that being said, we could see a lot of market volatility coming in the stock because again, it does get sloshed around quite a bit. It does kind of fall into that growth stock kind of sense of if the overall growth market does pull back, this one does get hit slightly, and we could see it kind of come back here. Initially speaking, in the short term, we're going to be looking for some support around $24.60 or $24.50 in that range. If it does pull back past that range, we're going to be kind of going back to the Fibonacci tree here and be looking around the 2269 potentially. And that's kind of falling into where the parabolic SAR dots are kind of coming into. So a very strong pullback into next week. If it breaks below 21, that potentially could be a buying opportunity in the short term, depending on what your time horizon is. And then GE, yeah, GE, actually, I added some positions into GE on this pullback. I did post it on the Patreon and then the YouTube membership tab. What did I say about this? Let me show it to you real fast. To kind of show that I'm not an imbecile here. 1 second. Published. So these are just like trade ideas that I do. I don't give like trading alerts, so I want to be completely upfront about that. This is what I kind of pointed out on the my trading idea for GE that I posted the 12th. So I actually posted it yesterday around 11:30 a.m. That I was looking to add the $12 calls for June, which I did actually add in my account here. And then again, I kind of give a little description on support and resistance levels and what my targets are potentially in the short term for the stock here. Looking at the levels here, that stuff still holds. We're looking for, again, that 21 to 34 EMA, which is my favorite kind of buying zone there. Looking forward to kind of hold above $12.38 to $12 to kind of see that GM hold from at that level. Again, due to their selling of their division here, you kind of get that market sell-off move here. We're talking about a potential reverse stock split coming in as well. Kind of a lot of information being thrown out there. I'm looking at this one potentially being somewhat of an over sold kind of scenario here, because the trend previously was continuously kind of carrying us higher here, and then looking for this potentially to kind of break higher. So my first like tier T1, which is target 1, would be trying to potentially break back above 1328 to kind of hit that level. And then my next tier 2, which is going to be a little bit more on the piggish side and being a little bit more greedy, would be kind of breaking up to 1536 to even $16. So that's basically how I'm looking at GE, because again, this thing has pretty much been beaten down quite substantially. If you look at the Analyze tab, the research team over here always I always kind of do the opposite what the research team does, and the market edge always has somewhat of like where my contrarian bets go in. So this is going to be falling into that contrarian bet kind of side of thing, and just kind of seeing it potentially try to get back into the previous trend that we have seen. Because again, this stock has been beat down. If we look at the stock from on a monthly basis, this thing has really not really recovered here. We're talking about this thing hit the bottom here in 0809 where it's currently trading. It just sold off a major part of their company. I think cash flow and everything's going to be continuously growing here. So a little bit more of a longer term investing. I do own some of those options, but I also, full disclosure, my friend, I own some stock in this one as well, but that's going to be a little bit more longer term horizon, being 18 to 24 months and that kind of consideration. And thank you for the $5. Hopefully that wasn't too long-winded for my friend. Jordan is asking, I don't know if you've already talked about this or not. Can you talk about PENN? I have a June 85 options. It's up big. Only one contract that's getting added to SPY, but that seems extended. Yeah, this is PENN National Gaming. I actually own. I'm just selling put credit spreads in this, so that's what I have. That's the only position I have. But this thing is a monster, Jordan. Like, you are in a winner chicken dinner kind of scenario. Again, I didn't have the cojones to buy the calls. I just sold some premium in it to kind of collect a couple shekels here and there. But this looks like a very beautiful chart. This is going to be kind of going in the same category, Jordan, as a reopening play, boosting the economy, really diving into the Dave Portnoy like selling kind of scenario of like, hey, this guy touches things, it just kind of turns to gold. Not going to be putting a large emphasis on that caveat here, but again, looking here in the analysis tab, this thing has not been able to fire on the full cylinders because the closing of casinos. Again, once we get a reopening and a larger expected returns from that, I think that PENN Gaming is a fantastic stock to have. On the fundamental basis, I could be seeing it a little bit overextended, but on a technical basis, it's honestly not. It's really not. It's looking here to continue to see the trend kind of carry us higher here. Looking at that, again, 21 EMA being at that first initial support here. So around 120 potentially could be a level of support. We do have a very nice squeeze setting up. The volume zone and the RSI are looking pretty shabby here. And on the same note, look at this. Like, this is like my trend looking chart here with Darvis boxes here. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. This thing could easily run higher here. With the inception, again, looking here on the 4-hour chart, that trend looks super strong. We had a huge explosive move in, looks like an after hours market move. So that's another fantastic little move coming in here, because again, in after hours trading, it went up to 140. So very interesting. Actually, I really do love the stock. If you got in a good position in this one, you own the, what was it? You said June 85. Yeah, you must be making a very nice call there, my friend. Congratulations. We're going to give you a nice little chest bump there, my friend. You did a fantastic trade there. That is absolutely beautiful. That is a very happy dance there as well. So great trade there. 85 call, man. Like, yeah, that's a nice trade there. Very nice. And I appreciate that you went out so far out, because again, you didn't let theta decay scare you depending on when you bought it. I like those deep in the money calls, because again, with a higher beta, really trades aggressively with the stock. So fantastic, my friend. Cheers. Cheers with coffee. Clink, clink. So hopefully that answered all your thing. Yeah, being above 140, that's going to be definitely somewhat extended here. But what do you mean by extended? Like, on the technically basis, the RSI is not above 80. So what I mean by that is like look at this. So when it hit the RSI of 80, that's when it pulled back. So kind of add that the RSI level if you're interested on what we're looking at here. It's not the solely thing what I think is overbought, but with the squeeze here, this thing is going to be pretty much gangbusters coming in Monday if it's up that much in after hours trading. So congrats again, my friend. Paul, what's up, Hat? What's happening? Thoughts on CRISPR Ken has been trying to push up the last few days. Yeah, Kathy, Kathy loves this one again. This is the one of the first CRISPR therapeutics, which has been the sense of like the genomics editing stuff. They have been beat down substantially more than I thought. I'm actually gonna blow my nose real fast. 1 second. I'm gonna mute myself so you don't have to hear this nose blowing. All right, sorry about that. I had a really bad head cold this week, and I have been kind of been out of been, my mind's been foggy. Haven't been really been able to think very hard. Uh, Head colds are absolutely terrible. Like you just have a pounding headache. Your head feels like 55 pounds, and you're just not able to look at the screens. You just don't feel like doing anything. It hurts to lay down. Blah 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 blah. But finally getting over it, got my energy back, and so forth. And just very happy to be with you guys here today. Where was I? Yeah, CRISPR. CRISPR here, Paul. Looking at this one as well. Very interesting one to look at. Again, let's look at the Analyze tab. Everyone flipping hates it. Let's be honest here. Like they're like, it's a POS, da 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 da. You know why? I love seeing that. That gets me super excited here. On the fundamental basis, it does lose quite a bit of money because again, it's investing in something which is really groundbreaking. So if you want to be the market leader, you got to put your cash flow and your money where your mouth is. And looking at this one, I don't own a current position in this, but this is definitely something that I would like to see here. So looking for this potentially to kind of level off here. Initially speaking, that short-term support around 126 to 125 here, Paul, to potentially to hold. But the trend is still kind of like what we're looking at here in the short-term side is really aggressively still down here. I don't like to draw channels here, but that's kind of like the movement that we're seeing. It's very much like a downhill skiing scenario. So you have, I don't ski here, but this is Ken skiing here downhill, and we're going downhill here still, but we're potentially kind of leveling off here. So we're looking to kind of level off here, potentially looking at the 21 and the 5 and 8 moving averages trying to start curling back over here. We're seeing that 126 level to potentially hold in the short term, really emphasizing the stronger support coming in around 118 to 120 potentially here. That's going to be kind of where the 200 EMA lies here. Looking on the weekly side, this thing has had an enormous run. Just like Tesla, a lot of these very strong stocks has just been bursting with a lot of energy and just kind of shooting it to the stars here. This thing could easily come back down to 100 and actually would be somewhat fine to kind of see that trend play out. But it would need to bounce pretty aggressively because again, this hit 220 just a couple months ago on that really large move higher. And then ever since that little kiss of death, it's just been continuously downgrading here due to interest rates, whatever, lack of money to invest, and so forth. People being super scared about that. But these do kind of come back and play in those little cycles here. Again, this will come back. I just don't know when. Potentially looking for again the support initially around 126 to around 120 to kind of see on how it plays out. Yeah, Jordan. Okay, it's an April call. That's still a good call, dude. That's still a very aggressive play there, my friend. Aggressive, like a good play. But you can always roll it if you want to. Like, let's go back to PENN. Yeah, 85. Yeah, you're still up a nice little chunk of change there. You could easily roll it out. Like you can just sell this one and buy. You can buy the June. Like again, like the June's actually not that much different. You're looking at the 85 call here's at let's just call it 45, higher 46 here. The 85 call for this one is only going to add a couple $100 here, but gives you a little bit more longer time horizon there. And it's pretty deep in the money as well. So again, that's a pretty high delta. So it's going to be pretty much linked to that stock here. Robert S, what's up, dude? Is Roblox a buy to you? Honestly, I don't know. Technically speaking, there's not much I can go off here. We have 3 days. I don't know. Like, it's the fundamentally speaking, I don't think they even have any analysis up here yet on the tool here. But with Roblox, is it a buy here? I don't know too much about it, to be quite honest with you. I think it's somewhat of a game changer, but on a price value and technically speaking, which a lot of my stuff does derive from, it's hard for me to say yes on that one. I would have to let it see, kind of wait out for a little bit, because again, it has been moving around quite aggressively here. Again, with the new IPOs, direct listing stocks, you do get that FOMO, that market move of like, yeah, it's another new stock. Let's put money into it and kind of see how it moves and how it plays out. That's what I'm looking at. That is basically what we're looking at there. With Roblox, it's kind of like a sit and wait, kind of sit on your hands and kind of wait for me scenario. If you understand the fundamental story and have like a really good skew on the price targets and what the revenues could be and how they make money, I don't even know that fundamental side of that story. So sorry, Robert, I'm not able to add too much of my perspective on that, especially with not being much of the technical side. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully that's okay. Jordan, you're welcome, my friend. Ryan says, I am balls deep on SOXL. Yeah, so that is, who is it? Is it you and Watts? Or who is it? Someone else in the Discord. You guys are like constantly talking about SOXL, talking about something that has been beat down. Again, the semiconductors, of course, this is a 3x leverage ETF, so we have to be super careful. And those are pretty aggressive moves here. Not saying it's a bad investment. If semiconductors do come back, which again, I completely think they will. Again, I have a very more optimistic, bullish mindset majority of the time. I do have a bear case every once in a while. Again, I did a video a couple days ago, which again was hit and miss about Dash. Again, looking for Dash to continue going lower here. The thesis is still playing out. It's not breaking above that 89, or sorry, the 8 EMA here to the upside. So it's just continuously to grind lower here. That's basically my thesis on Dash and kind of seeing it just continuously kind of get it somewhat beat down. With SOXL, actually, Ryan, I did take a small position in this one as well, just a very small sliver. This one to potentially see a recovery here. I think I bought, what did I buy? Might have been May or August. I don't remember. I think I paid, yeah, they had like weird prices because again, it's a 3x leverage ETF, so they have to do the different various prices. I think I might have bought the 34 or the 30, maybe it was the 33s. I think, no, I bought these. I bought the 34s because I like the round numbers. I think that, yeah, I only bought 2. Again, that's a very small position for me, Ryan. $1,000 trade there or a swing trade for me. We'll see on how this plays out. Looking for initially to kind of get at least back up to 37. You kind of see my price targets in my alerts, just seeing there around that $32 range potentially to downside support, and then trying to break out to potentially hitting that $37 range there for the semiconductors there. Really kind of breaking that trend here in the short term. Potentially you'll see that maybe scaling out on one of those contracts and letting the rest run to potentially hit up to $45 there. Orlando Perez, hey Ken, can you please check out Lemonade? Yes, without a doubt, my friend. Lemonade or Lemonado, very much a growth stock. I think everyone probably knows that. This thing has been very much beat down, but guess what? Just like a lot of the other stocks, it has closed. Guess what? Bounced on that 200 EMA here. So that 200 EMA is a pretty substantial level on the 200. So just the basic stock premise of what the 200 EMA is. So the 200 EMA, most likely people always use like an SMA, which is a simple moving average. I use the exponential moving average to kind of skew on volume a little bit better. But the 200 level on the SMA or EMA has been consistently support. So basically, the value investors, not saying value investors are buying lemonade, but they watch the 200 EMA. So once it gets to that 200 EMA, majority of the time we do get at least a bounce or some kind of significant move higher here. So guess what? We hit that level around $96, potentially looking to kind of break above 110 or even up to 115 here to potentially see a potential dead cat bounce or at least a potential somewhat of a move higher here. And really putting a pretty strong line in the sand here at $96 to be a pretty solid, significant line of support. With that being said, that is a pretty aggressive downhill move here. We are kind of breaking out of that little like channel move here. So we can see that here on this chart here. Let me put this to a daily side. We are trying to break out of this little channel move here. With that noted, what we need to see here to kind of get out of that pretty strong downhill move here would be getting back above 110 to even back getting above to like 120 potentially. Because again, we're substantially well below the 50 SMA. We are below the 21 EMA. Some of the moving averages are still aggressively kind of pointing down here. The shorter dated stuff, the 5 and 8, are starting to curl over and trying to make a recovery here. But yeah, be super mindful of that. Hey, this could be just a short-term hold here, and that short-term support's kind of coming here because it did break on intraday volume and intraday prices nearly down to 85. So kind of be very mindful of like the levels that we could see here. This is previously coming into where it was before like the large breakout here. Again, being a newer IPO stock that kind of came out last summer here, we're going to be coming into basically being traded for at least a year here. I'm not sure on the lockups as well. Orlando, if you're trading stock, you probably should know when the lockups are. So looking at what potentially could be kind of coming through here. But that being said, initially some short-term support coming around 96 and then some stronger support coming into 85. And again, we're behind earnings, so we could see the next catalyst to try to kind of kick this one higher here. Wesley, what's up, my dude? Can you sound better today? Glad you're feeling... Wesley, I don't know if people prayed for me, thoughts or prayers or things like that, or the sunshine here in Virginia has saved me. But it feels so much better to be able to talk and actually keep my eyes open, because those head colds are absolutely terrible. And like, I do terrible with headaches, and it just like my eyes hurt. I just can't look at anything. My mind feels foggy. I don't like to take medicine because it just makes me more like just I don't want to say like down, but just kind of like I'm just not able to think when I take like cough medicine or like a head cold medicine, like a NyQuil or Dayquil and things like that. Thoughts on BA, sir? We're crushing it right now. Yeah, Wesley, did you buy calls in this or stock? I was a little bit more hesitant on it, being a little bit more conservative the traders than I am. I just sold some premium in it. So I sold it in around this last earnings that kind of came out. I sold basically around the 200 to 205 puts. I sold some credit spreads to the downside or to the upside. Again, hoping the stock stays above 205 to 200. Those have paid off substantially here. Really with BA getting to an all-time high here. Not an all-time high as a whole stock conglomerate, but as an all-time high in the last year. Because again, if we kind of zoom out to a weekly chart here, this stock used to trade at $446. Okay, of course we had the terrible stuff with the Max 8 on the autopilot stability kind of controlling thing failure with multiple crashes. Of course, with the overall segment of entertainment or sorry, airfare kind of getting crushed as well here. That being said, this thing is super bullish here. Initially speaking, if you're in it, you gotta kind of continue holding the trade. Potentially, it should have reached at least one of your price targets and maybe taking some chips off the table here. Looking for initially to try to get this back above $300. Honestly, that's what I'm looking for. Initially speaking, we are somewhat hitting that overbought range potentially, so we could be seeing a pullback in the short term. So a pullback in the short term will be basically coming back down to 250 to around 240 potentially. So we could be maybe re-adding some put spreads in there as well to kind of collect some more credit, or if you're a little bit more stronger bullish on it, more taking more of a risk on buying just straight calls or stock on this one. But yeah, I love BA. This is a very substantial move here. Hard to buy at these levels though. This is a very strong pull in that market there. Semiconductors to the moon. Yeah, QCOM. Yeah, QCOM. So GTFO in the chat. QCOM. Like I added a little bit of QCOM in here as well because again, this is more like what's the word, like bottom fishing here. So this is basically like what can happen here. I like it a lot at this level just because it has been beat down. Playing the 5G stuff, I think that it's somewhat considered overdue or oversold. Kind of, I do air quotes quite a bit. I don't know why I do that. So highlighting it here, basically again that around that 130 to 125 zone being somewhat of that oversold, and maybe like, hey, this could be considered a bounce here. So initially looking for at least a move higher to around 137 to even 143 would be some initially levels that I want to look at here, to potentially see that bounce higher. Initial support coming around 127 to 126 with this one. But yeah, semiconductors have been very much beat down, but I think that there's still a pretty strong narrative in the market here. Alan, what's up, my dude? What's up, my friend? Thanks for joining this morning. S, what's up, dude? Yeah, we just did Tesla. We can do Tesla really quick here. So Tesla, of course, I love my Tesla. We're seeing somewhat of a pretty strong bounce here off that 144 EMA here, but the overall short-term trend is still kind of going lower here because we're not back above 700. So we want to see the stock basically getting back above the 21 EMA and really seeing it back above the 50 SMA here, which a lot of people do look at the basic technical analysis. So that's going to be that red line coming in here. So would like to see it back above at least 750 here. But again, I'm a long-term shareholder in Tesla, so this is was just a kind of a pullback buy for me. Ryan says, what about PRLB? PRLB. Photo Labs. Wow, this thing has been cut to pieces as well, too. Holy moly guacamole. Let me redo this fib here real fast. I bet you it's going to come right down to the 50% retracement. A little bit less. Okay. Wow. Really? Wow. That is beaten up. What is this? This is a Kathy Woodstock, isn't it, Ryan? Oh, it says avoid, hold. Photo Labs is an e-commerce driven digital manufacturer for on-demand things, 3D printed, control, maintaining interaction model. Yeah, the 3D printing stocks have been hit hard. Like we just talked about NNDM here a little bit ago. Those have just been completely decimated here. This could be maybe a sympathy play. I'm not going to be. It's going to be a hard one to look at for me, Ryan, honestly, because again, I don't know too much about this overall industry here. I think you said Kathy Wood does own this. Yeah, Kathy Wood's also, yeah, that's what you said. They do a lot of business with them. Okay. Interesting. It is coming down to a previous support level around 120 to 122 here. It did bounce off here pretty substantially here off this 115 here. So 1, 2, and basically so 1, 2, 3 here. We're seeing those levels kind of come in here for potential levels of a bouncy bounce here. Very interesting. I actually kind of like this one. It's very much overbought, oversold here. Theoretically speaking, what was the analysis tab here for? Yeah, revenue. Actually make money, cash flow. That's good for them. Market cap 3 billion. Okay. I wonder what the short interest on this one. They have a high short interest because again, sounds like a very much of a growth stock as well. Again, within the 3D printing space, and really looking at that here as well. Looking for, yeah, it's been very much beat down here. Interesting to see it kind of bounce off the 200 EMA here on the weekly chart. So that's going to be pretty impressive here as well. Very much oversold here, but it can be oversold for quite some time before it kind of gets bounced from that level here. Oh, my video paused? What the heck? Let's see here. Boop, boop. Uh-oh. My camera went out, I think. Oopsies. Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. Do-do-do-do. My webcam failed again. Sorry, folks. Let's see here. Oh, shooties. Let me add. Yeah, my webcam failed again. Sorry, guys. I guess I have to hide my pretty face for you. Well, I guess you can't see my pretty face now. That's a bummer. Did it overheat again or something? Like, what the heck? I need to get a better webcam, don't I? Yeah, so this one I think is overbought, oversold, but it can be oversold for quite some time before again it gets that rebound. Jordan says, is there a name for what the channel indicator you use on the red and blue channel? So this was actually one for one of my stock. What do I use on this one? This is considered it's like a shared moving average. So it's basically what we're looking at is they're the standard deviation channels. So there's the standard deviation channel 1 and 2 here. So you've seen those both lines here. And then the trend bars, which is that someone has shared with me via a long time ago that I was a member of. Jordan, I want to do with YouTube fun stuff as well. Looking for potentially trying to incorporate other various levels here on maybe looking at more chart setups and folks, because a lot of people do ask about like my chart setups and things like that. Again, it's a continuously evolving kind of thing that I do and just kind of see what works and what doesn't work. But yeah. Puts on Ken's webcam, yeah. It's a Logitech webcam too, Ryan. It's a Logitech webcam, but it's just not a really good webcam there. It's continuously free. I just use it too much. I think it's my beautiful face kind of broke the mirror in the back of it. If you don't know, David S is helping me potentially getting well, I just need to order it and get it set up because it's a little bit expensive. A Canon DSLR setup basically for my webcam. So basically that should completely blow out this little crappy little dinky Logitech camera and just make it the picture so much more crisp and just make my face really pop off the screen, if you know what I mean. WFC says different. Yeah, let's look at WFC. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so with a lot of these stocks that have come back quite a bit here, we're seeing it really kind of flourish here on the sense of really coming back here and seeing the momentum here and really seeing the potential push here within the bank stocks. Again, with higher interest rates and so forth, we're seeing that level really kind of come back here and continuously kind of grind higher here. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to run to the restroom to do quick potty, and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, I'm back. Okay, I'm actually trying to mess with the webcam, but it seems like it's not working very well here, but whatever. I guess you just won't be able to see my pretty face. Sorry, okay. All right. With bank stocks, so forth, really looking at these at a different light here. I'm really going to be looking at these as XLF. So this is S&P 500 banking stocks. So going, this is going to be the trust for the banks. XLF, the financials within the XLF here, and really seeing these potentially running higher here. Looking at these potentially trying to break out here, again, closing at an all-time high as of Friday here, and just continue to grind higher due to the overall market within interest rates. So going back to Wells Fargo here, kind of the same narrative, looking to kind of break above 40.50 to potentially test $42 there. Wesley, congratulations. You get, hopefully this works here. You get a happy dance here within the old nice trade there for the BA holding those 97 beans. I love it. Ken, do you have a membership where you can see you're doing live trades during market hours? I don't. I don't have that. My friend. I share some trade ideas, but I don't. I'm not a service where I give out my trades, because again, my mind could just switch on a level, and I really don't honestly feel too comfortable on giving out that kind of advice, because again, I'm not a financial planner in that sense, but again, I give trade ideas in that sense. So within the Discord membership and so forth, and then Patreon as YouTube members, I kind of share a couple of trade ideas. So to kind of give you a little bit of understanding of what I do. Again, it's not the most consistent as well. So the posts that I put, so the published ones, you can kind of see what I do. I kind of posted a couple, maybe once or 2 or 3 a day, every other day or something like that, on like certain levels. Like again, I posted about GE on the Patreon page and on the YouTube membership tab of like, hey, I'm looking to buy this. I'm looking to buy the January 12 calls. I'm looking for these levels of support. I'm looking for these targets. Again, it's more of a trade idea. I can't discretionally tell you to buy something, because again, I'm more or less kind of doing it as an educational thing on just helping people understand what my thought process is, and rather just giving you trades blindly and you just follow them. Like, you're not learning from that. You're just kind of just following the leader kind of scenario. Logitech, yeah, Logitech has again kind of been beaten down here as well. Bounced off that 144 EMA here as well, Ryan. Kind of seeing it kind of come back up to the 89 EMA. Maybe could be a dead cat bounce. Would love to see this back above the 21 and even the 50 SMA here. So need to see this back up 100 to 105 for me to kind of be super excited about it. Kind of sloshed me around. I had to cut it in my short-term account. Yeah, very much so. This has been more of an aggressive pullback than we've seen recently, but in time due, Logitech does kind of rebound. That trend is still somewhat intact. Has been damaged when it kind of broke past that 89 EMA here, which is again that blue teal line that we're kind of highlighting here. But that being said, would like to see this back above here to see if the trend can kind of continue, because we did hit very much oversold territory there. Frank White, what's up, my friend? Morning to you as well. Says MO, please. Yeah, moo. Of course, this one, very really choppy market. Like, look at this one. It has had multiple issues trying to break above $43 to $44 here. And now we're finally seeing it kind of slosh through from its last earnings here, looking like it wants to continue going higher. Looking here on the weekly chart kind of gets us a little bit of a better picture. Has been somewhat of a downward trend, even with the market volatility we saw with the pandemic and virus and so forth. Has really not seen too much coming out here. Looking via the Analyze tab, it's a pretty much of a hold and a buy, depending on what you're looking at here. I think that this is definitely a little bit overextended here on the short-term side. So we could, in the short term, see maybe a pullback to 46.50. Could be potentially, and depending on what your horizon is for the stock here, 46.50 to potentially even 45.30 to be some levels of support here. A strong pullback would be even to 44 to 43.50 would be at levels of that coming through. But on that same note, it's that trend is pretty strong here. We're currently seeing here with dividends coming up here as well. So that $50 range could be hit before we even do see a pullback. I really don't like NIO. Scared me, but savings gold on fire to the moon. Yeah, NIO. What's the best move here? I know Tesla inside and out. I don't know NIO inside and out. So in the short term, NIO could make a strong recovery. So can Tesla. Speaking my own book here, I'm pretty heavy in Tesla. I don't own any NIO. I have traded it in the past, but I haven't bought into it as much as like a long-term investment that I have with Tesla. Initially speaking, looking at the chart here for NIO here, this has been very much a downward trending stock here. Kind of getting a bounce here off that 200 EMA here around $35, which is, again, a pretty significant level here. But now we're bouncing here, but we really need to see it back above 45. So breaking of, 46-ish level. So that's the 89 EMA here, where it's above the 21 EMA and so forth, and really seeing it back up to 50. Because again, a lot of people on the growth side use the 50 SMA for levels of targets here, and that's way substantially up there. Can it hit up there? Sure, why not? I just don't know the fundamental story for NIO as much as I know as Tesla. So if you have a better research and the better understanding of the stock, go for it. Like, you have to trade your book, your conviction, my friend. But both stocks have been very much beat down and are trying to recover here, though. NXE is asking Ryan. Ooh. I like this one. What are the analysts saying? They're saying Jack squat on this one, so no one's covering it. I like that. I like this one a lot. Next N Energy. What is this? Analyze. They don't have any information on this one. What is this? Let's look this one up. I like this. This chart looks good. NXG stock. Let's see here. Oh, we got Vancouver, Canada. Okay, giving some love to our Canadian folks. Let me go more about this one. Where is their description? Let's go to their website. Canadian company. Nexon delivers the generation project for Canadian and the global environment. What do they do? What do they do? Tell me. something to do with energy. They're building huts here. So what are they doing here? Corporate presentation here. Okay, nice. They're building a beautiful looking plant here of some kind. Forward looking, some beautiful looking people, beautiful building, some numbers, top five study outcomes, optimize facilities layout to reduce production footprint by approximately 24%, lowering the on-site programs, capital per year. What do they do? What do they do? Oh, uranium market. So I own CCJ for this one as well, for uranium. I like this stock though. This is a very interesting. It's a mining. Okay, in the world of mining and polar. Um, I like these 3D renders. It's like from like a Windows 95 flight simulator. Mm, wow, this looks super interesting. Production shafts. Inflation, uranium, bull cycle. Okay, this is interesting. So this is very much similar, Ryan, to what I got into CCJ is in. Oh, it's NXG's nuclear energy. Should do well this year. Long-term play for me, holding shares. Um, this looks super interesting. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. Just like CCJ, honestly. I want to write this one down as well. This is a very good secular cycle trade here. So NXE. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit here. Again, with that on the short the daily chart here, we're seeing a bounce off that 50 SMA here around $3.25. I actually kind of like that it's lower price like this because again, it doesn't have too many eyeballs on it, and it's just looking for a potential pop that we could see here. Yeah, this is a very interesting stock here. Being very mindful that we could again, yeah, short-term support coming in around that 330 to 328 would be that short-term support. We are seeing the momentum kind of switch here, so we're looking for that next overhead pressure kind of coming in around $4 to 395. So that is something to be completely pretty interesting stock to look at. I'm actually gonna put some alerts out here to kind of keep my eyeballs on it. Thank you for that one, Ryan. You have the 115 calls for 65 for yeah, that's a yeah, you're buying leaps. You have no, you mean 115 2022, right? Frank. I wish I bought more BOLT Bolt. BOLT. Never heard of that one. Um wow. I've never heard of this one, Jeremy V. Um, very interesting stock here. What probably not gonna have anything on the analyze tab. Bolts, the biochemical, clinical stage amino company. The company is developing a tumor targeting therapy that leverages the power of immunity and immune system. The immunity is approaching users, engaging. Okay, so this is very much a stock that it's really going to be putting into that spec kind of speculation kind of market because again, with any kind of therapeutic, on my viewpoint and the spec tree of therapeutics, it's very much well, you can't see me because my webcam's broken. A dice roll, and then looking at like, hey, what could potentially happen here? What we could potentially see go forth, and really just investing and keeping a very close eye and understanding what the business is doing completely. In that being said, again, the stock's only been around for a month and a half, maybe a month and like a week or so. We're seeing the potential support coming in around 32, 38. That's going to be kind of a very basic level coming in here. Yeah, so yeah, 32.62. Looking at these ranges here, not too much volume. We saw a lot of volume coming in on the day of its IPO or direct listing here. Yeah, not too much technically I can speak about here, honestly, Jeremy. Um, being very yeah, I don't know. Like this could this be a 10 banger? Sure, why not? Could it be? Can it go back to? Can it go below 22 again? Sure, why not? Again, this is going to be heavily tied to uh, the ongoing production of that trial. Sounds like on really kind of building its pipe for creating that therapeutic from the tumor targeting therapeutic. It looks like it's talking about. Jeremy says STLHL standard Ethereum is one of my good long-term plays. It's sleeping giant once they start up full scale later this year. Um, let's take a looky, low. STLH. Yeah, another. Wow, that's a really pretty looking chart here, honestly. Yeah, that is definitely somewhat of a sleeping giant here. I kind of like it here, honestly, though. Just like the other one that Ryan just pointed out with NXE, we're seeing that to kind of bounce off that 89 EMA here in the short term, basically around $2.44, and potentially seeing that kind of you're seeing those parabolic SER dots here, pretty much kind of keeping the price down here lower here and not really getting back above the 21 EMA here. Would like to see this at least back above $3 to potentially start getting that more of a bullish kind of trade here going through here. On that note here, RSI and volumes on oscillator are both kind of just like blah and just kind of just like not really saying much of anything here. On that note of seeing that market move to try to break above 3 would be something pretty significant here. But if that can, I'm sorry, that's the wrong button. If it can hold here and stay above $2.50, I actually kind of like it. It does not have options. Like option leaps would be fantastic on this stock. This is something I would like to look at. Does NXE have options? Probably not because it's traded so little. It does have options, okay, but it doesn't have Okay, does not have leaps on it yet. Interesting stuff. But yeah, both these charts look really good. Again, being somewhat of a longer term spec play without a doubt. Ryan's asking for FCELL. Let's look at FCELL here. FCELL really coming here as well. Wow, very strong bounce off that 144 EMA here and bouncing, getting back above almost that 50 SMA, so around 1839. So this is the one that is like the charging, right? Drives fuel cell solutions. The company is engaged in designing, manufacturing, installing, and operating, maintaining fuel cell power solutions. The company also provides power generation solutions for customers, including power plant installation, operating, and maintenance. This sounds like a huge play, Ryan, on infrastructure bills. So if we do get that infrastructure bill, which the government's been talking about for quite some time, this could be a very large play with FCELL, really playing the EV and at the same time the infrastructure bills going through here. Very again, this thing has been beaten up here. This sounds like a Kathy Woodstock, but I don't honestly remember seeing this one in the portfolio before. That 14-ish dollar range, so 14.37 to $14 range, could be initial level of support initially. We are seeing the 5 and 8 kind of cross over to try to break above that 21 ME, which we have, and breaking the parabolic SER dots to the upside. So the momentum is trying to switch here. The only thing that it's slightly being a little careful about is it's got earnings coming out. It's got earnings coming out very soon here, so it's going to be very difficult for me to get a position until after earnings, and really seeing how this plays out. Because the earnings are coming out on the 16th, so that's actually on Tuesday. To be super mindful about on how that one plays out with FCELL. But yeah, very interesting one. Does this have options? The options move for next week is basically $3.80. This is called $4, so this can easily break past that 24-ish dollar level up here if we do get a huge boost higher, and then to the downside could hit that $14 range there for a potential little bouncy bounce on that 89 EMA here. Jeremy, you're very welcome, my friend, and thank you for sharing and coming by. And if you haven't already, guys, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up for if you have learned something. What's up, DMC 8282? NXE is making the W. If it goes below the VWAP, I'll be shorting. NX NXE. That's the one you're just the VWAP. Like, are you using the VWAP on the daily side? Because again, isn't the VWAP more aggressively put on the smaller time frame here? So if we could put this the VWAP is basically I found it's very difficult to kind of do it on a larger time frame. On a smaller time frame, it's a little bit easier. So initially speaking here, that's kind of falling in around that 350-ish range on an hourly chart here. Even though like the VWAP I've found, and again, I don't trade at a very small time frame here, is basically kind of be targeting around that 350-ish range on the smaller time frame. So the 350-ish range kind of falls into the 21 EMA here. So I think that kind of is, yeah, you can short it without a doubt. Again, I know you're a little bit more smaller time set here, but yeah. I'm pretty sure DMC 8282, my friend, you were very happy about NNDM bounces that we've seen here. So NNDM has made a very nice potential bounce here. If it can hold here, we did break above that $11.25, which I wanted to see it move here. And it bounced off that 144 EMA quite aggressively here. If we get it, it had earnings. It did do very well under earnings. Kathy Wood has highlighted it on her weekly commentary as well. So looking for this to potentially try to boost higher here. Would love to see this back above the 50 SMA here, which is around $12 to $11.95, to really see that potential target to be met at those levels there, and really having a grand old time on really maybe not seeing it going back up to 17, 18 anytime soon, but really start getting it back into the swing of things in the sense of it has been beaten down quite a bit here, and now we're just kind of seeing it slightly come back here and really seeing if NNDM has the staying power behind it. Because again, the 3D printing companies have been very much hit within the growth sector as well. But NNDM has done multiple stock offerings on raising a lot of capital, on the sense of creating a lot of cash on hand, so they're able to invest it and do some M&As and buy some companies as well, that which the CEO has talked about numerous times on various interviews. You got out at 11. Hey, if you made money, great for you, my friend. Please, I'm not going to tell you how to trade your plan and how to do things again. Sounds like you know what the hell you're doing, and a great little trade on that one. So you get a nice little chest bump there for NNDM kind of recovery going forth there. So yeah, congratulations on that, my friend. A couple of things I wanted to look at here. So kind of going back to like my Saturday, Monday morning stock screening stuff. We can look at some things. Yeah, MP, great one. This is one that I own here as well. So MP here has been a very strong stock as well. Again, coming into the mining stuff and the rare earth kind of things. Since I am a long-term shareholder in it, Ryan, I have to hold it through this earnings report that's coming out on the 18th. Definitely something to look out for. It is in a squeeze here. If this does, the 18th doesn't have weekly options, but it does have the monthly expiration. So looking for a move about $7 coming to next week. That's pretty substantial for a $42 stock here. This is definitely something to look out for, because that can come back down to the 50 SMA here, which is again the level I could potentially would like to add to the position here. With that noted of like, hey, if the earnings doesn't go great and whatever, it gets skewed a certain direction and kind of goes lower here, if it breaks below 35 and is not able to kind of rebound from those levels here, we're going to be looking for this target. I'm not the biggest fan of just buying right after the dip after earnings here. I would like to see it kind of level off here potentially. So I would give it like maybe 2 to 3 days to potentially see on how it reacts if the earnings is kind of on the negative side, because again, it's a newer stock, hasn't had too much of an earnings. I don't think it has that much of a viewpoint as well. Yeah, it doesn't have too much. It has no one really rating it yet, so that's gonna be something that could be in its favor, because again, you're not gonna have an analyst trying to add his or her perspective on the stock here. So um, that could be somewhat of a catalyst here, but being very mindful, like, hey, $4 move potentially that we're going to be looking for next week, of course, to the downside. That could be hitting the 50 SMA. To the upside, I would love to see it back above 50. Like, again, long-term shareholder here, love to see it continue to grind higher here. But it has had a little bit of issues around $45 to kind of get past those levels there. So that's something we'll be looking at there. Yeah, NNDM was a very aggressive move down there. DMC 8282. It wasn't looking pretty for a couple days there. Just had to be patient and really stick to your potential targets, or if you had to cut it, yeah, definitely an interesting one. That was a very aggressive downward pull. Ryan said MAXR, also a good looking chart. Yeah, that's a good looking chart as well, Ryan. Again, I actually like this one quite a bit here. Again, nice little pull here as well. What I like about this, let's move these away. It's having issues basically getting above $50 to $51 here. So it's going to be looking at those levels here. So it's basically that level here, here, and here. Have not really been able to see it break above here in a little bit of time. But we do have, again, earnings is behind us, which is great. It does pay a 1-cent dividend, so Godspeed to them. We do have a squeeze setting up. RSI and volumes on Oscillator are both kind of a little blah on this one. Potentially looking here on the trend chart, very choppy as well. Looking on the Darvis boxes, very choppy as well. Kind of a little bit of a sloshy, kind of messy, kind of a choppy chop like we talk about on the Discord quite a bit here. So looking around, again, potentially trying to break back above that $51 range. In the short term, support we're going to be coming down to around $43 to $44. So this could be a nice little risk to reward trade here. What is the analyst tab saying? Both saying reduce and sell. Nothing too much else to see here on the analysis tab here. Again, looks like the stock has not been covered too much here. Looking on the weekly side, let me look. What's the long-term view on this one? Yeah, this has only been trading since like 2018. So this is something that could be considered, which is like the IPO base. So I'm doing my webcam broke, but I just did air quotes for you guys. So that $67 range could be something to be mindful about. That yes, it's only trading at 46, but that trend wants to continue. Looking here on the weekly side, that trend has been pretty aggressively here. It has come down to that 21 EMA a couple times, so around $40 being a substantial support here. But we are trying to break above this previous level here, which again we saw way back when in what's this, April and June and July of 2018. It looks like, but ever since then has been a very large downward catalyst here. Looking for this to kind of stay and break above that level. This could be a level of invisible line to seeing that potential lack of resistance to kind of break above that. But very interesting chart. In the short term, that could be a nice little risk to reward trade there for me. Thank you for sharing, Ryan. Samir is asking, what's your take on SPY? Yeah, sure. We can take a look at the market here. So SPY, well, it's all crunched up like this. SPY, again, breaking to pretty large moves higher here. I'm actually going to update these fibs here. Want to update this here to 89 EMA. There we go. Let's see here. It's a crazy move. Like this stock just around a year ago hit 218. Okay, we've made a super strong recovery from that, almost a 400. So the $400 level is a pretty significant level that we could see here. Initially speaking here, the $4 range is going to be something that we need to look for. I think that $4 range could be met and broken here, so that's going to be kind of that range right there. we're nowhere overbought or oversold on the SPY. We're just kind of been a little blah in the overall stock here. Again, the overall market course with the Nasdaq being down substantially because again, growth. Of course, the S&P 500 is a more skewed ETF or index that is basically looking at the overall markets. It's a little bit skewed to technology and finance sector because again, the technology industry within the S&P 500, correct me if I'm wrong, is around 18 to 20%. I think, with technology being beat down, but more of the higher growth stocks have been beat down technology stocks because again, you're seeing Google, you're still seeing Amazon slightly recover here, Facebook and things like that. Those are larger Microsoft as well, larger technology stocks that have been fairly weathered from the larger sell-offs. Again, by sell-offs, I mean like if you look at some of the higher growth stocks, like we just talked about NNDM, especially looking at the RK, the QQQ stuff, those stocks have really kind of gained back quite substantially. But S&P 500, we're initially looking for some short-term support here. So let me go into here for you. So looking for some initial support coming in around 390 to 388 to any kind of short-term pullback, Samir. But again, that level around 395 would be kind of a potentially a breakout to try to get into some higher levels. Again, that $400 level is just speaking to us like, hey, please, let's hit that level and start to kind of break out here. Initially speaking, the trend is trying to go higher. S&P 500 has been trending very well here to try to break those levels again, not kind of taken away from that market. So if we look here on the analyze, where is this? So looking at here. So if we look at the industries, if we look at the S&P 500, so this is kind of broken up on what's going well in the market. Of course, you see information technology and communication services, of course, Google, Facebook being a large component of that. Those have all been down the last couple days here. But what are we seeing here on the percentage basis of what else is doing well? We're seeing banks doing very well. We're seeing, again, industries, aka infrastructure kind of stuff doing well. We're seeing a little bit more like healthcare sectors doing well. Consumer staples are coming back. Real estate and utilities have been doing very well, which is kind of like that energy, utilities, materials kind of stuff has been doing fairly well. At the same time, it's kind of skewed here a little bit because again, of course, we know that the consumer discretion stuff, the Home Depots, we have GM, Ford, and things like that. Those are all going to be stocks that could potentially be coming back due to people getting that stimulus check, people going back into reinvesting in their house, the economy, reopening plays, kind of things like that. To kind of give you better. So if we look at the NASDAQ 100, what are you going to see more? Okay, we see a lot of Microsoft, Apple, PayPal, Google, very large component in that, and only a couple things that have been very high on the NASDAQ 100. Of course, this is again the higher growth stuff. Again, really much seeing more red than you're seeing green on that side. And of course, the Russell 2000. What do you see? The Russell 2000 really breaks that into Samir on more the smaller America-based companies that are not the large conglomerates that you see worldwide. Of course, you see all the small financial firms doing fantastic. Of course, healthcare has been coming back quite substantially. Industries as well, and then of course real estate has been very well. So it's a little bit more evenly skewed because again, if you go to the NASDAQ, you're just seeing a lot more red because again, tech has been hit substantially more due to the higher potentially rates that we're seeing here within the yield curve going potentially back up to $2 or so to 2% there. Really looking forward to Ark X. That is the ETF for space, right? Yeah, that has not been announced yet. I know that Kathy Wood has talked about it a little bit here and there on like she can't be disclosing the positions, but again, a lot of people are speculating on like it's going to be like Northrop Grumman, it's going to be like Lockheed Martin, it's going to be potentially some satellite companies and so forth. Of course, you can't have space without space itself. So, oops. Virgin Galactic, of course, this thing has been moving forth here, kind of bouncing off that $30 level. Of course, very much went from the oh my gosh, I love this stock to really everyone hyping it up, and now really kind of coming back down once you start seeing some insider selling and so forth. But I'm interesting to see what people are saying about this one. Um, Very hard one to kind of tell on revenue growth. Again, not one that has been potentially well received in the overall analyst community. But yeah, I think I've been trading in space for quite some time here. Actually, way back here, because again, this was like the first SPAC I actually invested in, so I was completely new to me on seeing on what a SPAC was. Why Kathy Wood do live stream but no open chat? Well, I wonder why, honestly, because there's going to be a lot of trolls in that one. A lot of trolls. A lot of trolls in a Kathy Wood live stream. I actually want. Did Kathy Wood just post a newer video? I would love to react to one of their videos. I actually really like. Again, I don't agree with everything she says, but they do a really phenomenal job on understanding the market. Really, just being somewhat of a contrarian bet on the overall movement and that we're seeing in the stock market. Again, they're uh, as much of crap that she's getting because whatever the analysts or talking heads on CNBC are saying, close your fund, you're done, you're washed up, just get out while you're ahead, blah blah blah. I'm like, just give them the middle finger, Kathy, and just say, go suck on a lemon, you mother truckers. That is basically she's really much a contrarian bet, and then a lot of people just don't understand it, and I think that she is misunderstood in that sense. So I think most people in this chat, or most people that follow me and understand the stuff that I do here, are on the same bet or the same side of like Kathy Wood does fantastic stuff, and looking forth on what she continues to bring to the table. And she's very transparent with things. Like, when's the last time you saw a hedge fund or anything like that being super transparent? Because again, if you go to any other fund or like, yeah, I understand she's not running a hedge fund, but she is running a very actively traded ETF, which again is somewhat new to a lot of people, and really just seeing the mark that we're seeing here, so like the innovation fund, so forth, like explore the ETF, and just seeing these really fantastic things that we're seeing kind of coming here, on seeing their holdings. Again, I did a video just yesterday on highlighting their larger position in Teladoc. Like, this is something I have a hard time. Again, Kathy Wood, she's very much just she dances to her own music, to her own drum beat, whatever you want to kind of call it, and throw it in there. Teladoc, this thing has been a complete roller coaster here. Is just really just tied to, is it going to come back? Is it like, but again, her time horizon, like she says, is like 3 to 5 years out investing. So looking way down the road to really see on how those potential markets could come through here with Teladoc. Of course, Square, large position, like you say, DMC 8282, very heavy in Tesla. Yes, Tesla has really cemented their positioning in the stock here. Yeah. Yeah, she manages. Yeah, she manages multiple ETFs. Yeah, it's not just one ETF. It's not ARK, it's ARK KFG and all the other ones, the Israeli one as well. And that note, like, just look at these names. Like, they're invested about 76 different companies right now in just the ARK, which is the one that I think most people look at, and actually look at it as almost like an indicator on where the market could be going. Of course, you're seeing a lot of some interesting ones. You're seeing Zillow in there. Okay, Zillow. Who doesn't like Zillow? Like, who doesn't use Zillow, right? Teladoc, again, The chart doesn't look very pretty, but she must know something I don't know. The one that I've been keeping my eye on is 10XG, is actually one that I have been trying to look at. We talked about Provo Labs here, which again, Ryan has talked about and brought up to the chat here just recently. Interesting ones that she's the smaller positions in. TSM she's been selling. I've been seeing that she's been getting out of that semiconductor stuff. DraftKings has been one that she's been getting into and also talking about quite a bit on just being a little bit newer trend. But again, it's not significant. It's like a 0.5% of the overall portfolio. A little bit more on the larger side, like Twitter, like that's been beaten down the last couple of days. PayPal, again, she's much more heavier in Square, being more of a leveraging the cost of its all financial advisors say 5 years. That is very true. Like people are like, oh, it's 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe it's 15, 20 years. It's just like a very nice round number to kind of throw out there because it gives you plenty of time to really play out potentially the thesis of what you're looking for. Of course, PLTR is in there. C Limited is up there as well being well over 1%. But again, just looking at the top like 5 indicators, you have Zillow, Roku, Teladoc, Square, and Tesla. That's going to be basically making up, what is that, 16, 21, 26, almost 30% of the ETF is traded within Zillow, Roku, Teladoc, Square, and Tesla. So looking at that market, we're going to be looking at to potentially looking for that levels there. Should I tell my friends to sell his Lordstown motors? I saw some stuff coming up at that. Did like a short report coming out there on Ride? Let's look at that one real fast. Yeah, Hindenburg wrote something about it, right? Let's take a looky-loo. I just pulled it up here. Here. So Lordstown is electric maintenance spec that has no revenue and no sellable products, which is believed it's misleading investors both in demand and production capabilities. So this is again, if Lordstown, if you remember, this is ticker symbol RIDE. This is the stock that you saw. I think they went into the White House, right? They went to the White House. Like, wasn't RIDE with President Trump? Trump. I think they took a picture in front of the White House, right? And yeah. Here it is. Yeah, here it is right here. You're having Lordstown truck pulling up to the White House with President Trump in front of their truck again. This is again the endurance pickup truck, which is again they're trying to market it as, if I remember right, DMC 8282 on the sense of like, hey, it's going to be the truck that utility companies and like larger enterprise companies are going to be buying and looking forth on trying to get into the overall market. In the sense of like, hey, what's going to happen here? What's again? It's let's just look at the report here. Kind of going through this. It's somewhat new to me here as well. I haven't looked at it. This is the illusion of supply and demand. The Lordstown is one of the SPAC electric companies that is attractive hordes of retail investors to lure the exposure of the ongoing EV revolution here. So if you Hindenburg report is the one who helped Nicola go through here as well. And Drew has seen this kind of here. Rahman, hey Ken, good Saturday morning, drinking coffee and watching you. Best Saturday ever. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Please, guys, if you're enjoying this, hit the like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, major shorting going on here. Ben saying, Ken, you live? Yes, this is very live. My webcam actually just froze on me once again here. It's actually, if I'm touching it to the holy moly, it's really hot. Definitely need to upgrade the old Logitech cam here as well. So looking here with several companies in the space, Lordstown has been never produced. So this Lordstown is, again, the company that we saw that is buying like this Ohio plant here. Of course, they've been in front of, let's see here, Ride. Right, your stock. Lords. They had this the production plant they're talking about. They're buying Ohio, a former GM, or a Ford plant. Yeah, this is it right here. This is the picture that they're going to remodel this and kind of remind. Yeah, exactly. DMC82 reminds me of so much of Nikola. This is the problem which we're seeing here. These SPACs have just been really much just like kind of stretching the truth, really just kind of not entrapping people, but this is something to look for at like really just I guess over promising, maybe calling it a lie, and under delivering kind of scenario of just being super optimistic, maybe skewing certain things. Uh, I know the CEO of Steve Burns has been roasted before on some interesting stuff on stuff here. Um, um, so this is again, we're looking from the Hindenburg report. Again, I'll put that in the comment section or the chat here. If you're more welcome to kind of follow along, highlight for your own way and looking for this. Yeah, great way to start the weekend, right, Ben? Talking stocks, especially on the short report stuff here. So, looking at the Hindenburg report, our research has revealed that the Lordstown order books consist of fake and entry now blinding orders for customers that are generally have not even have fleet vehicles. So, again, they were highlighting that like they're going to be the company for large conglomerates to buy fleet vehicles, like certain like governments that need 100 fleet vehicles that could be transitioned to the EV stuff, and really kind of going to that thing. Um, we detail conversations with the customers who were engaged to explain the letters of LOA, so letters of intent, promotional, and not fully like letters of order. So basically, spoofing those. Lordstown's founder and CEO Steve Burns have described to us as buying former senior employees as a con man, as a PT Burns figure. This kind of goes in the same scenario, like, okay, what's going on here kind of scenario. What's Steve Burns has been seeing a potentially really running the show and creating more of a not a Ponzi scheme, but just kind of like overemphasizing and so forth. And maybe again, Hindenburg, they don't do completely crap work. Let's be honest here. Like Hindenburg was the firm that of the short report that really helped the companies within Nikola, like exposing Nikola. I think it was the Hindenburg report, right? That really did that. They did the same thing with Clover Health, I believe, and we've seen that stock kind of been dropping off here, really going off the fence. And interesting ones going forth. But again, yeah, we just talked about this, the whole presentation on the White House. So there's like it says part one. Lordstown's order book looks like to be the most entirely fake and non-binding, resulting of demand. Again, where did we hear about this for? DMC82 talked about it already. Nikola said like, hey, we have X amount of contracts with these people. We're going to be building garbage trucks for waste management or whatever the company was, One Republic something, and just continue going forth. So the contracts to claims, as our research has found, Lordstown's fleet turns orders are marginal and are instead are non-binding letters of intent, requires $0 put down for payment, does not require an actual purchase. The customers are actually doing no operating fleets, and these are the customers who do not even have the means to make these purchases, including a case of encouraging press releases announcing the deal. So again, looking at this presentation on the understands of like, hey, most likely Hindenburg is going to be short on it because again, that's why they did the due diligence and looking at this. Lordstown S1 filing discusses the non-binding nature of their pre-order book, but does not disclaim any other risks associated with such business, even though that means to make such purchases. So again, if I go to you guys, I'm like, hey, please, are you interested on buying 50,000 vehicles from me? All you have to do is sign this letter. No other going forth here, but yeah. A lot of my friends have owned Clover too. Yeah, Clover really got smacked from that short report. Really got smacked. Of course, they highlight this first to market 100,000 pre-orders as of 1/21 was the September delivery, maintaining ahead of peers. Furthermore, some electronic vehicle manufacturers like Tesla have been collecting deposits for new vehicles reservations for years. Again, Tesla is going to sell the semi truck. Again, still an early development. That's very interesting there. So the information on the E Square inventory is not found in typical Texas corporate records as it is not a registered corporation. It's a DB individual that is doing business as another name registered as Denton, Texas, County, Texas. Here's the record showing it's an individual investment. What is this? This is interesting. Lordstown press releases identifying a principal of E squared as Tim Gross is a LinkedIn. Gross identifies himself as a transformist leader in clean energy. We have seen the E squared have only 2 employees. Gross among another individual who self-denies as a retired freelance energy consultant. The address appears to be Tim Gross's apartment in a building where apartments on the same floor rent for 1 to 100 apartments a month. The apartment building office location in Lordstown's demands claimed 731 customer. So this is again, Hindenburg really does the research here, right? This is something to look for, like, hey, what is going on here? What's the story here? This doesn't. Your corporation is tied to the 3rd floor of this apartment building. The website of E Squared does not even have a name. The signal executive or indicates that it's focused on advising companies of cutting energy costs, blah, 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 blah. This is like it's kind of going down the rabbit hole. Like it's not going to be really getting pretty intense here on the overall report. Again, I linked it in the comment section down below. Of course, the pre-orders that we're talking about is a huge issue going through here. And seeing this kind of playing out here, really I actually want to do a deeper dive video on this one. This looks quite interesting here. This is a video of we noticed this driving weird within 10 minutes a Lordstown truck burst into flames. Again, video here burning into flames here, blah blah blah, more stuff going through. Of course, with this whole EV market trend here, we're seeing this really kind of come into full fruition here on, hey, not all SPACs are created equal. Not all EV companies are created equal. So you have to do your deeper due diligence because, again, so many people got into Workhorse just because of the potential of signing of the USPS postal deal here, and really kind of diving here. I want to go to legal disclaimer. What is there? The appendix conclusion, investors and workers and a lot of local community drives answers for what's going on. So I like this. So Hindenburg report did this also with Clover, which I recently saw as well, where they basically put in these 21 to 20-ish questions of saying, okay, we're going to give the chance, the conclusion to the investors. If you can answer these questions within detailed answers here, we're going to be on board with the understanding of what the company does. At that same note here, let me look. Oh, second. On the same note here, and really kind of going through. So Lordstown announced 14,000 truck orders for eSQL Energy, representing $700 million. That is something as a potential in sales. We found that E Squared is based out of a small apartment in Texas that doesn't operate a fleet. How do you even explain this? Are you calling this as a pre-order example? So basically the first question's right off the bat, like, yo, dude, what are you doing here? Like, you're saying this company is announcing a buying of 14,000 cars here, or potentially fleet here, and how is this even worthwhile? This company is two folks. It's got one retired consultant and one person that's a transformational energy company. Like, they don't have the capacity to buy 14,000. Are they buying it for other customers? Let's just please get an understanding here that they have no customer base here. What are you talking about? Lords announced a $52.5 million truck for Innovations LLC. We found that the entire is based on a regular virtual office within a UPS store mailbox. The CEO of the apparently two-man operation is described as a role as being a promoter. Keyword promoter. They should have highlighted that. How do you explain this? Explain the calling a pre-order again. The emphasis of the short reports, like, what are you guys talking about? This emphasis on orders. We're not seeing this kind of transparently stuff. So very interesting stuff going through. We can kind of dive that down on a little bit larger rabbit hole. Looking at Ride Lordstown, you're seeing that short report come out. Of course, that stock dip quite substantially here, coming down to the low around $14-ish, maybe getting a bounce here, coming in right in before earnings as well. Again, it's coming in right before its very first earnings. So it's very first earnings coming out. So looking at those levels there. Yeah, normally I would say I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole, honestly. That's my honest opinion. Ken, what's for breakfast? Yep, I had 2 eggs over easy and a delicious multi-grain English muffin with a cup of coffee and a very large jug of water. That was for breakfast for me. Interesting stuff, without a doubt. That being said, going into earnings, this has been super beaten up. I think this could easily break if these things don't come through. They don't prove anything here. We can easily see some interesting stuff through. So looking at again, kind of highlighting on how I do things here, and looking at some sites that I want to see. This thing is called Open Insider. So again, this is something that we can look at. So we can look at ticker RIDE and seeing on if what's going on here. So, but what is this? CFO sale plus OE. I don't know what that means, to be quite honest with you. Sold his stock. No one has been buying it on the management side, it looks like. Looking at the understanding of, like, hey, a lot of this stuff has been where was that name didn't pop up. Okay. Basically, I just want to look at sales here. Let me update this. Oops. Ride. There we go. Let me go Ride. Yeah, looks like a lot of just sale. Looks like someone sold 1 million of their shares here. Interesting. Owned that much ownership, $16 million. And no one's really buying into this. Again, on the ownership side, another place that we can look at is FinViz. This is something that we're going to be looking at. What are we looking at? Ride. They also do a pretty good job on ownership here, of course. Sale. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of sales, options expiration of getting those shares back into those options again. Normally tied to leadership ownership on their revenue. But I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't look pretty, and especially with the Hindenburg report. I really don't want to be touching it with a 10-foot pole. Let's keep it at that. Do you think with the virus being over, because of seeing potentially of TTOO or BNGO? I don't know what TTOO is. Is that new? Interesting stock here. Again, a little bit more. What does this do? Is a venture diagnostics company engaged in developing technology platform offering an alternative diagnostic method. Yeah, I think this still has potential here without 100% with 100% here. I don't know the complete fundamental story here, but if we do get a break above, again, it hit some previous support here around $1.66. These lower priced dollar to $3 stocks can move pretty aggressively here, so be super mindful about that. Of course, BNGO, that has been a insane move here. Again, really getting that large pump up, hit that $16 range nearly, and this kind of come right back down. We bounced off that 89 EMA around $6.46 here. Looking for a potential move higher here, kind of coming into potential levels here. Super mindful here, ladies and gentlemen. We have earnings coming out here, looking like it's going to be in about 2 weeks here. Really going to be insightful on this one, on how everything's going, looking at the stock price, looking at revenues, and that could be a wake-up call for some investors here. Yeah, this is both those stocks are going to be coming into the fundamental story of what you completely agree with. Free paper cuts, Costco water. No, actually, it's just water from my 3-tier cleaning thing on the sink thing. Yeah, it's just refrigerator water. Brandon says, Ken, have you ever read of FCELL file for hedge funds? I find a few successful sleeper trades at SLPX. Yeah, I do love looking at those reports. Honestly, those filings, because of the sleepers ones. Because again, everyone always wants to look at Warrens or Ray Dalio's or the larger guru fund folks. It's interesting ones. Not select quote. I've not heard of this company. It looks like I did some analysis on it before. Let's see here. Select quote offers a direct-to-consumer distribution platform that provides consumers with a virtual to shop for senior health, life, and auto insurance. Home. Okay, interesting one. Not sure the rhyme or reason behind it. This is something to look out for. That. Oh, the Discord's not working. Oh my gosh, why does it keep on doing it? I'm sorry. 1 second. Let me do invite people. Copy. So here's the Discord link there. It keeps on changing here. I'm not bad. If you want to join the Discord, that's the link there. I apologize. I need to update that. That's silly Gillies stream. Let me update that before I forget. I don't see that timer actually. Why does it say? I just updated it, so hopefully that is saved there. Sorry about that, my friend. Yeah, select quote looks interesting. Yeah. Buy says, can you announce this BA for next week move? Yeah, BA, what a monstrous move. We kind of talked about it towards the beginning of the stream. I've been streaming for quite a bit actually here. I just looked at the time. Looking again, for the expected move for next week is $17.70. Let's just round that to around like $17 to $18 here. This move has just moved $17 as of Friday. So looking at that was a pretty substantial move higher here, breaking into that Fibonacci level, which we haven't seen in quite some time at $267 here. That's going to be a fairly large move that in the stock here. That being said, if we do get a downward move for whatever reasons to options rolling to a pit bull low coming into next week because of monthly option expiration, in the short term, support's going to be coming in around 245. That's going to kind of falling into that expected move if it's trading at 270 here. So we could easily see it pull back to 250 to 245 in the short term for that level of support. To the upside, we're looking for 280 in the long run, looking for 300 for BA for that continuously move here. My friend texts me and he wants to know that NNDM will use their cash for, I said they're going to use to buy another company like Microsoft did over the years. Yeah, I think that the CEO has talked about multiple times on investing that cash and then using it to buy other companies. But the CEO, I forget the guy's name, it's a really Israeli-based company, and they're talking about like, hey, evaluations have been so frothy, and it's been very hard to kind of buy companies because of their valuation, their stock prices. They're saying don't buy growth stocks, and then, yeah, growth stocks will always come back. It's just going to be what's your time horizon for coming back. Yeah, BNGO runs a lot like NNDM because again, it's very heavy growth as well. Ben's asking, Ken, what do you know about CPNG? Doesn't ring a bell initially. Yeah, I have no idea what this company does. Analysis tab. Formerly, is a Korean-based company particularly engaged in providing e-commerce services. E-commerce is like the hot word, isn't it? The company main provides home goods and decor, apparel, beauty, fresh foods, and groceries, supporting goods. What? It does everything. Like that's fantastic. Like, what is this company? I've never heard of this company in my life. Let's look at the website. Well, it's all in Korean. So is this like an Amazon kind of scenario where you can order things? Um, hey, those are nice little coffee tables. Little kids table there. Nice. Um, this looks like it does everything. It's like an Amazon. Like it's is it kind of like a Mohawk group? Which is what is that? Is it W? Is it MWK? I think this is it. This is the same kind of company where they use e-commerce platforms, but they use to acquire companies and they sell their own products. So basically, they have a large skew on Amazon. They use their own data-driven platforms to kind of generate revenue, and they buy companies that do very well on Amazon, and they really just put them into their bundle and just sell things like crazy. These are some of the brands that they sell, of course. Very much stay-at-home plays, razors, and healthcare products. Looks like some sound bars and electronic stuff here. I don't know what the hell that is. What is this? When it comes to your health, take measures and protect yourself. Okay, germ stuff, back posture thing was I need the hell I need that thing. Mueller, which is again I remember I lived in Germany for many years. Uh, Mueller is a great company. Actually, it's a very high end company in that sense of making kitchen products for the like European climate. But yeah, very interesting ones without a doubt being said there. That's awesome. Hey, I'm glad, Ben, that you're looking way out of your time horizons without there. It's like a Walmart of Korea. Nice. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know that had any listing there. So that's I actually I kind of like those newer IPO stocks because again, you never know on where they could be going. So I'm actually gonna write that one down here, Ben. So thank you for sharing with me. I'm gonna add that to like my watch list and kind of add that to like a potentially IPO breakout. Because again, technically speaking, there's not much I can go off there, and there's not unless you know the fundamental story very well. Guys, gals, I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. I kind of need to get the rest of my day going and so forth. I really do appreciate everyone coming out and looking at and having a good time this morning. I would like to do this more often if people do enjoy this. Of course, I'm still going to be doing the Sunday night live stream as well. I like to do live streaming more because it's more interactive rather than just doing the videos. So again, thank you guys for everything, for coming out, watching the videos. I know this has been a little bit long-winded. We covered so many different stocks. We covered the overall market. We covered PLTR, Tesla. We looked at some Korean delivery stuff. We looked at a short report. I kind of like doing these a little bit better because it's a little more enticing of the community that I want to build here on YouTube, and just really looking at the continuously growth here as just being independent traders and investors, and just kind of sharing ideas, compiling information, and just having a good time doing it. And I hope this was enjoyable. If it was enjoyable, let me know in the comments, ping me on Discord. If you want something to see different things at different time zones. I know I know a lot of people who do watch me in Europe, which is a small segment, did appreciate this. So I thank you guys within the European market for coming out and watching again. Hopefully this was educational as well. What time is the Sunday live stream? I'm gonna probably do it around 9:30, my friend. That's 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, on that note, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a fantastic, wonderful day. I might be posting a video tonight on some options activity that we saw, and maybe a speculative trade. I do want, again, my webcam's not working. I have to get that working as well. But guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for stopping by. Again, I'm Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.